What was Sign Solutions?
That is for our road signs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was elsewhere.
Secretary, I would call the meeting to order.
Hey, I'm on time.
Oh, okay. Now, okay, call the meeting to order. Agenda. Hey, Dave, you mentioned you might have something for the agenda?
Yeah, like Lee, last meeting, we started with Pledge of Allegiance. Could we continue doing that? I guess a lot of meetings you go to, they all do it. So I know the Legion came and asked if we do it, so I guess I would ask that we keep it up if we can. So we can do it now.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll be sure to add that to the agenda.
Anything else, Dave, for the agenda?
Nope, I think everything else Jamie has on the agenda now, so it should be good.
Minutes for the April 10th meeting.
We need a motion to approve the agenda. Lee.
So moved.
A motion.
I'll second approve the agenda.
Any further discussion on that? My memory is failing me. Okay, agenda approved. Okay. Minutes for the April 10th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes for the April meeting. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Bills.
I guess I have no questions on it. I'll make a motion to approve the bills. I'll second that.
We have some here that we haven't looked at yet before we go on with that.
What's your credit?
Tractor rental. have a John Deere tractor rental that started last year, so it's for a year. So it should be up again in,
I think he said he started working on it again in July or August.
yeah, it's like July, August, they'll
How
start.
many hours is it, Kenny?
I think he goes up to 200 hours.
Is that a bid?
I don't, that was done before I
Okay,
started,
so
so.
that number ain't gonna be repeated.
I have the info coming here for you.
That should be $1,000. That's what the other guys are charging. That'll change. ITD, internet.
It's the states, it's the state settling T5 or T11. Services,
I'll fix that.
We're gonna make a copy of that for you.
No. Nothing we can do about it, no.
It's like your contract.
I know what the new contract will be.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark.
That'll be $50.
Actually, it's by pacemaker that was vibrating.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Factory Motorsports, Kenny, is that yours?
It's factory motor parts, it's where we have an account through the county
Okay,
for oil and
is
whatnot.
that specialized oil or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a good one.
You need that knife for everyone too.
Yeah. This is the concrete out front with the extra charge on it. Check out the extra charge.
Oh, that is, okay, yeah. That was something we were gonna have to talk about, as far as, he said, if you're okay with it, it's an extra $7,000 because the front concrete, there was a lot more to it when they took it out than they thought there was because the rebar was different sizes, there was more hand cutting they had to do. He said we can work with each other if you're not okay with the 7,000, but he'd like to get paid for the work that his guys did, so.
What do you think?
I guess that's the first I've heard about it right now, so I haven't had time to think about it. So they put in a lot more hours?
Yes, they were here on Saturday working also. So they did all last
Some
week
of the
plus
rebar was
Saturday.
If the cement was thicker, they're gonna hit a rebar. They have
Yeah.
to chop up.
And they are coming back on Thursday to replace the dirt around the edges and reseed it. And then there were a couple sprinkler heads that must have got broken off, so they're gonna replace those also.
And did they say anything about cleaning in front of the building? I see they splattered a little cement, but it's pretty.
I will talk to them. I
Yeah,
can talk to them about it, yeah.
And they're tied into it, so we're,
They did a nice job.
They
Look
fought,
like
it looks,
a job,
they
yeah.
really fought with that cement.
And I'm pretty sure they hauled all the cement out to the shop, right?
Yep.
So I guess we move to approve the bills, we do approve it.
Motion stands. Yep. Memo still stands.
We have a motion and a second to have a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Okay. Bill approved to be paid. That is, I need to sign that one. We all need to sign this. More engineering. You better some more engineering here. Jim.
Tom, you sure sit up here with them. Keep them in line.
Let's see. I guess I was just gonna update you guys on the BNI bridge project, and a lot of it'll be in combination with what Greg's here for as well. I talked to Dave a couple times in the last couple of weeks, and right now we're working through design, and I would say nearing final design on the structure and the roadway approach. Again, just to set a reminder, there will be a bypass in place for this county road for a year to a year and a half is what the current situation would be. We have that designed as well. One of the big issues at hand right now that we're taking a look at with Braun Geotech, they're a sub-consultant of ours, is the settlement of building and on top of that much earth, I guess. And so they're doing some settlement calculations, and the intent is to allow for settlement over the winter here, and then start with bridge construction in 2026. Now, I know Greg's probably got some stuff to add to that, so I'm sure he'll touch on some of the schedule stuff, I guess. We're gonna, within the next 2 months, I'll say, we'll start putting together, and we're in the process of it, but we'll have bidding documents and agreements put together. So Patrick, that's probably when we get you involved to kind of take a look at some of the agreements and contractual language. And again, I think Greg's gonna touch on some of that stuff.
Have you at least received that?
Well, nothing, I don't think.
Yep, they don't.
Oh, was that the overpass permit? Yep, I looked at it. Okay.
I brought it to you out for people.
I did make copies and give it to them.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject.
Yeah, no, that's good. So we're working through some of that stuff. Some of the other design stuff we're working on with BNI and Greg is some of the approaches and access for some of the local landowners. I visited with a couple of them in the last few weeks, and I know that's something top of mind, understandably. And then maintenance, essentially trying to encourage the county and BNI to come to a conclusion on what maintenance is going to look like during and after construction. Then I'll speak for Greg, some stuff on that. So that's been the last couple of weeks in a nutshell what we've been working on in the project. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
What's finish date on this overpass? Do we have any approximate?
Open to traffic, hopefully in the fall of 2026. So
Probably have updates on that.
okay, that's so Greg, I know, and John are working with PSC. Is that fair to say? And schedules have changed a little bit, so I don't know if now is the time to have them update you guys on
And
that.
the bypass is removed then, and everything put back to.
Yes. Yeah. The intent is to reclaim the bypass back to, close to original state, although there will be mining taking place on that western side of the county road at that point in time, so. But yeah, I guess that I know Greg and John have been working with PSC and have been keeping us in the loop that there's ongoing conversations as we speak. So there's probably updates to schedule and stuff that I might not be aware of.
So when that bypass is being built and the overpass, how many days are you guys gonna be involved each week to oversee that everything's done correctly?
That's gotta be part of our discussion with you guys on what that comfort level is and kind of what the logical solution there is. When the structure itself is getting installed, there'll probably be a little more, my recommendation would be there would be a little more time spent up here. For building a bypass road, can probably be somewhat part-time, depending on the scope of what they're working on in the moment, I guess. So ditch grading, things like that, we can kind of come up and check intermittently. We don't have to stand there and watch someone grade a ditch. Some of the road work, culvert installation, stuff like that, it might be worthwhile having more full-time. And we've talked with B&I about that and tried to set the kind of ground rules for what expectations would be, but ultimately we both agreed that the county's gotta have a really significant input into that. It's your system, so.
So with the bypass road, you're gonna need at least one area of culverts or maybe two culverts? And then where's that runoff gonna go to? Cause eventually we're gonna get a bunch of rain, right? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Instead of just Napoleon getting it, maybe we'll.
Yeah, similar to any other roadway design, we'll have culverts installed at the logical locations of where the natural drainage is too. Did I miss anything that you two?
Okay, nice to be and I are the next on the agenda, and it looks like we're on the same topic here, so if we can include you in conversation.
Okay. I guess some of you guys already got these, so I'm not gonna hand them out again, but a couple of those things that you were talking about, Dave, probably tie really nicely into the stuff. If you guys have these, a couple tie nicely into that document, especially when Jim was talking about the like when inspections and stuff like that would be. So, we started trying to outline some things on like page 3 around improvements. So that's some of the steps that we're taking, but then there's also on page 4 page 4 talk about some of the services. Talk about that where the county can select certain times that the board would want extra inspections when we're already planning to have inspections. Then also on the next page talk about the project schedule. So that would be like another, I think, a good spot and time to call out certain times of like during, once we're amenable to if this isn't all the things we want to have on a true project schedule, we should kind of step this out, but it maybe be things that would make sense. And then those would be really for sure check that, yep, that's done, we're all satisfied with how that was completed, and keep on going to the next step. Again, those are things that would be totally, there's other data points you want to put in there. I think those are great things. That's why we try to get this, you guys have this document so we can negotiate on those type of things. Talking about, I guess, the schedule a little bit. There's been debate at the PSC a little bit about whether this triggers a road closure, since it'll be temporarily closed for road construction. We were taking that as a construction project. They've urged us that this is treat this like you would is like when we close other county roads. And to go down that route, we have to do a publishing at the state level, or a publication of this as a permit revision for us. So with that just bumps this out a little bit for us. So I think we'd be more looking at like rebidding this project in this fall. We probably want to begin to have documents together, so then construction would be happening in 26. And then completing in 27. So basically just shift everything out to about 6 to 9 months is probably when we initially talked through would be a high level update on that. This overpass agreement, I guess, again, apologies, took a little bit longer to get it to you guys than we were hoping, but I hope it's a good product. spend a little more draft time on our side of things. I think the high level would be, I'm open to different suggestions here, but the suggestion that I was gonna propose is Patrick just work with our attorney on it, bouncing it back and forth. I mean, if we need to get us together and talk, gladly we'll do that. I'm just trying to think if we keep one point of contact on each side, just so there's less confusion on that sense, that's where I would suggest correspondence, and so I can get you his contact if I didn't already, Patrick. I think I CC'd him on the one that I sent to Jaden, and then I think she sent to you, so I might have to get you his contact.
Okay, sounds good.
So, and then I think that's appropriate if you guys have other suggestions.
I guess I'm wondering why you just want one point of contact when the commissioners all kind of should be involved in it.
And if you guys want to have that, I'm fine with that. I was just thinking of, I think we can sit down and have discussions, but just when we're doing correspondence of this, I've edited this document, he sends it to him, rather than you making an edit and Rob making an edit, can you guys consolidate edits and send it over one-on-one? Not saying we can't have one-on-one conversations or off conversations, I would say documents.
Yeah, but in terms of just when we're talking about negotiations, it's better to come through me. And then if I feel that I need guidance from you guys, I will send emails, or what we can do is have a special meeting or something like that.
Is that, we okay on that? Okay.
Greg, do you wanna touch on the maintenance conversation too? 3.34. No, we talked about that a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, so under Article 3 about cost security, so again, I'll say maybe an understanding of some points of this document would be acknowledging that really this structure is part of the county road system, that this is in the end be part of that county road system. We said we're still, our PSC permit as of right now, we're saying we're taking this thing out again in 30, 40 years when it's done. That's something we can work with the county if they want it to stay, if they want to take it out, that's what we're already the plan that we have in place. But it's part of the county system. The maintenance side, then what he's calling out here a little bit on 3.4 is, I think one thing that P&I wants to do is kind of have like a maintenance fund, because we think if there's unforeseen things that are extra because of this, that is that you guys are having to do extra maintenance on this thing. What if we have to resurface the top of it or something like that? We don't believe that should be cost to the county, because it was us that we requested that we set up a financial reserve so the county could pull from those things for maintenance things that would be associated just with that structure.
So, who's gonna be responsible for it if there's an accident on the bridge itself?
That would be the county, just like the rest of your road system.
Okay, and then as far as, like you guys have clipped the other one to the north,
Yeah, so if we get something underneath, that's on us.
that's yours.
Yeah, and so
So
I'd
how
say
about the
similar.
bridge inspection? Eventually it's gonna have to be inspected every so often?
Yep, so that's in here to be the same as the other one. We request the county get it on their scheduled inspections, just like, and have that coordinated with the rest of the county. Again, financially, we'd be financially responsible for it.
The one difference, Dave, I'm not sure if the current bridge is an on-system DOT bridge or not. That gets DOT inspections. This one will be. We've already talked to DOT, since it's on the federal aid system and it qualifies lengthwise and stuff, it'll be considered an on-system bridge. So it'll have a designated bridge number. So when the DOT does their inspections, they'll perform inspections on it. And then typically what they do is they then send Jane a bill for whatever. So.
And then, like I said, that's where it's going to be, not will be financially responsible for that. So you guys aren't getting charged for an inspection. Well, you may,
So
but
then I
will be.
send you the bill, basically?
That or it could be something that that could also
Okay.
be what this
The
reserve
fund
fund
itself.
could be used for. And I think we say that we'll, we have a X amount of dollars in there. We propose a percentage of the project to start as what that would be, and then so I think that's just something that we negotiate to make sure that we're all comfortable with what that number is, and say we'll maintain it at a certain thing, or if it falls below a certain amount. Kind of just trying to put a certainty in there. there's something that you guys can go to rather than having a cost and then having to come to us. Try to make that a simpler version of being able to go to that.
It's not an awful idea, but just know that that's added work in my office. We'll have to create a special fund and continue to monitor. And then when it comes to audit season, we'll have to make sure that we make them aware that this is what this is for.
Any more questions? Yeah, you know, I think it's been mentioned 3 different times about lowering that we've talked about, you know, you're talking to 3.5 degree. Has you looked into dropping that any little more?
We have not, Dave. We haven't looked at it based on the clearances and guidance that.
So how are you looking at it on your end? I know you don't wanna, but, Brian and I, and everybody out there has a big concern. So, and when you're coming from the south going north, it's all uphill. Just so everybody sees.
How it currently is.
And another comment I'll make is, I'm curious why the road superintendent hasn't been, you know, if you guys have a chance, get a hold of Kenny and show him what's going on. Cause that's gonna be his baby after this, so I think he needs to be involved, and he should have been involved already.
I guess, quick question, if you can't go right high. I brought it up during our first meeting, is there an opportunity to put a light system up there? I'm not really concerned with cars and, it's the ag equipment that doesn't have opportunity to move over. And I did a quick little Google search before I came today. There are some things out there, that maybe you could put just to notify if it's a farm equipment, combine, I don't know, that might be an
I remember
option.
you mentioning that in the
Yes,
public
there's-
hearing, actually.
There's things out there that might be an opportunity to take a look at just to make everybody aware who's coming up to that. And I think you can actually set it even by width of equipment nowadays. So there's stuff out there maybe that would help reduce the risk of, like I said, my concern would be farm equipment, meeting somebody else up on top of there and nowhere to go. So I think you guys are widening it, right?
Yeah.
So that'll help, but even with that farm equipment, it would be probably ideal, something, we can't lower it.
A good example is, Farm Rescue's out of Dave's right now, farming for the guy that rents his land. And, I don't know how wide that machine is.
The total width, you mean? 6.
No, I mean, as far as when he folds it all up to move it down the interstate. Do you know how wide that contraption was when I was over there yesterday?
No, I would say it's gotta be 14. Probably 14 to 16 feet wide.
16?
Transport mode.
Cause yeah, they're getting wider every year, it seems like.
We've got triples on ours and they shut the whole dam down for us to cross up there. Like the spillway is not wide enough, right? So a tractor, and that's a 2006, it's not as big as they are now. So this is a real thing because I've got a wheel on each side of that yellow line when I'm driving down Highway 200.
Yeah, so after the public meeting we had, we took those comments and we wanted to make sure we added width on there compared to the old one, because we heard the comments on the older one there. The clearance there, we tried to find a balance as far as the height of the bridge of what, keeps that sight distance, everything reasonable, also being reasonable with our road underneath and how we had climb on the west side there. It'll take us quite a ways to catch back up to grade there, so just kind of where we're at is where we think it's a kind of a reasonable spot to try to propose, I guess, is what we're going for. But, lighting systems, I'm not gonna say we're not opposed to, definitely can look into other options if there's something that makes sense to.
And we've got Dylan researching some solar generated options, because we talked last week, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
Yep, and so Dylan's kind of looking into our designers kind of looking into some options for out there. And there are, right now we're trying to balance, because it's whether the drivers adhere to it or not, because you can try to use speed and caution to, as one avenue, I guess, to control things. But if loading grain trucks are driving 50 miles an hour, they got to adhere to it, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah, so it takes the liability off you if you have something already posted.
And liability wise, we are required to design to what's called a design speed, where there's sight distances, which we have met that. So from the county's perspective, it is designed liability-wise to handle 45-mile-an-hour speeds. That's what it's designed for. So, but not everyone adheres to speed limits, I guess is what I would say, so.
So then the guardrails on the side could be the same height as the other one?
They might be a little different. There's different guardrail. I don't know them off the top of my head. There's different standards now with guardrail.
And I don't remember, how high is that gonna be from the ground up? Your clearance for your trucks and stuff to go underneath,
We're looking for 34 feet.
34?
And would that eliminate any at grade?
That would eliminate, yes, we either try to do any kind of bypass or, permanent bypass if we have to the north.
Yeah, so yeah, then there would be that permanent access if there was on there. We do a temporary one to get the drain line over there.
Yeah.
Initially to get them in there, and then after that we reclaim that, so there won't be another access point to the mine there, basically.
Dave, this question.
Okay, so what's gonna be right now with the plan that's, the design right now, how much higher is the county road gonna be?
Off the top of my head, the county road itself, I want to say it's like, is it 16 feet or something? Because the haul road will be lower than the existing ditch elevation. There will be 30 feet of separation. So I can't recall exactly what the current roadway is from the
Yeah.
to the bridge.
Yeah, I didn't tell it down exactly.
So you're talking a 16-foot rise from what the county road is now?
In the location where,
In the
so,
location where it's built.
so
So
right
we're going
now,
from
the
the top
county
of the
road-
hill and we're filling in a spot where it wasn't hill. So, like the hill that comes from Jesse Lackman's place
Yes.
going towards Brian Dresser's.
Yes.
So there's a hill there. We basically continue that hill out.
So there will be no rise in that hill south of the overpass?
South of the
There will be a slight rise from there.
Going toward Jesse's, he's saying, coming up from Jesse's going up. That's what he's saying, what's the rise gonna be?
Yeah, I guess that will actually show you.
I guess going back to Dave's question, he brought it up back 4 months ago or so about using the other existing overpass and building a new haul road to the west. I think that's what he's getting at, is because, I don't remember, were you a commissioner when they built the other one?
I'm not sure, if, when they got built, but I was commissioner when Mink Cota ran into it.
So I think that's what everybody out there wants to know, is how big of a hill, because you're all aware of what we talked about before. The existing one right now is a safety factor every day when you meet equipment. Especially now the trucks are hauling constant and the equipment are moving.
And especially being it would be, since you guys closed 35th Avenue, there's a lot, that put a lot more in, going over that overpass of semis and that type of thing.
This is maybe, I guess something more there, otherwise I was gonna say this leads into maybe my next point. So we had I'll say we had kind of a hearing or a public meeting earlier just to start getting some of the information out before we had final design plans. One of my requests here today then will be to set a hearing to show the final design plans and then come out with findings from that. So that's something that I'm asking the county here today to set that and then advertise it accordingly. Along with, at the same time, we'll be putting in a petition for some right-of-way work that we've been able to work within this right-of-way. Basically, we have permission to work on one side of it already from the county, asking for permission to work there on the other side. Same thing that we'd go to advertise that the next couple weeks and have that same.
You intend on having a meeting for the community?
So yeah, my intention is that you guys would have a meeting for this, basically, that would, I guess again our interpretation is going to be that if we agree upon building this thing, this would be the document that we would sign to make that approval. And so we would have a public meeting that would be to go through final design plans, anything that we haven't worked out on this, and then have findings, I guess, from that meeting. What my request is.
Do you have any date in mind?
My proposal would be sometime the first week of June, because we'd have to advertise this for 2 weeks, allow 10 days for then the public, then still after that last advertisement date, which then spills into that first week of June.
My calendar is pretty full till December 26th. Now when you talk this right away on both sides, what is your intention? Like, you're not gonna start doing any dirt work as far as the mine thing on the west side of the county road at all?
We can't until we have an approval to somehow get across that road. So that's either that we have an overpass agreement with you guys to access that side, we come to agreement to do some other way to access that other side. This is just that we have the ability to work within the right of way. So then, we can't execute this project until we have the ability to work within the right of way. So we're just tying that with this.
Randy has a question.
Yes, when they, like down by the interstate, when they cross the interstate, do they have signs there how fast they should cross? I don't know. Is there a speed limit going across the interstate over the overpass?
They typically reduce the speed.
So we're
Well,
at 25 here.
You know,
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, it's 45 is what they have the sign right there.
maybe you have to go a little slower, you know, across there. I don't know. I mean, sometimes a person just has to, you know, it's, people have to realize what's going on too, you know. I mean, there's something there, you gotta just slow down for that. You know, we gotta to take responsibility too, right?
Okay, first week in June is what you're proposing for a date.
Yes.
And the location.
I guess I'm open to it here if you want to have it somewhere else, but I guess my first just jump is to go here.
And as far as notifying the public, what's your plan? Because the center paper isn't the answer. I don't know if half the people in the county get the center paper, so we gotta do a better job of.
So I'll say we're legally required to do that much. If there's other avenues that you guys want us to pursue, I will gladly entertain those, but as of right now, that's our, if you go to North Dakota Century Code, that is the one legal requirement we're supposed to do, so.
Well, the county's got a page and there is a community one. I think they all gonna have to be utilized.
No problem. So what we typically do for this is we get the auditor what should be published, and then we don't actually publish it in the paper. The county publishes it in the paper. We pay for that typically, but the county publishes it in the paper. So then I guess if there's other things that you want published, either go through there, or if you want us to get on your Facebook page and put it, we can. But I don't have controls of your Facebook page. If that's
Do we have a date when the room's available?
I'd have to look at the calendar back in the office. Our commission meeting is on Tuesday, June 10th. I know that much. I'd have to go look at the calendar to see if there's anything for the first week of June. As far as I know, it looks pretty empty. But if at some point today we take like a brief 5-minute recess, I can run down and check.
That's the week before Old Settlers, right?
I believe so, yeah.
In fact, not even a week. Old Settlers starts on the 13th.
So it needs to be probably Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Or if
Yeah,
it's
so we're looking like the second, third, fourth, something along those lines is the first week of June, is what I'm proposing. I think the second is the Monday,
yes.
and I guess I, know whatever works on that side of things. Like, we have to just pick a day, we can.
June 2nd?
Let's not do the second, just in case I get rain that weekend.
We wanna do a rain day, right?
Yeah, let's do the third or fourth.
I just pick a Tuesday, it seems like Tuesdays usually work well if we have to propose a date, but. So that would, I think that's the third, if I'm correct.
The third is
Can you
a
confirm with me that?
The third is a Tuesday.
I guess that's what I would propose.
So I can use up the date then.
I don't set the date, you set the date.
We
You tell me when to
don't
be
know what's
here.
available. You do.
I'd have to, as far as I know, there's nothing on that first week of June on the calendar in my office. So we kinda have main control of this room anyways, unless there's court. I don't think there's court that week, that I know of. The first week of June.
Katie, there's chairs
Oh,
up
we're
here.
good. I figured out this knock stuff will clear everybody else. They don't want to stay for the next part.
Okay.
Thank you.
John and Greg, does this meeting that you're talking about also satisfy the PSC requirements for public?
They sound like they still wanna do their own, but this is the proper way, this is what they're urging us to do. Again, they're treating this as like a road closure that would be permanent, even though it would be a temporary, but so this is the same century code procedures you do if you'd be permanently closing up.
Oh,
I'm-
hold up. Oh. The auditors are coming on June 2nd and 3rd.
So not
No. Please no. I just got a text to remind me of that, and I actually have that on the
So
agenda,
that's
so.
December 26th.
Yeah, so then,
So maybe the 4th, but definitely not the 2nd and 3rd, please.
that makes sense.
June 4th?
June 4th, and I guess I'm open, it seems like 1 o'clock is kind of like you guys are moving commission meetings, so you just wanna do it then, so it's more standard time for you guys.
Are you gonna be around, Brian? You know?
As of right now. Following week, I'll be in Canada fishing, so.
I'll be about 30 miles away, so.
Okay.
So with that, I guess here I'll just show you, this is I will email this to Jaden, this is the work within the right of ways that I'm talking about. When I'm proposing that we would post for the paper and then along with, also posting about, I guess looking for, I was actually gonna ask more for feedback on this, because I do have just a brief, as you can see here, there's like 1 paragraph about this kind of construction closure, Jim, but I think we need something else for maybe, I don't know how we advertise a meeting for this construction project, basically. I don't think this one quite suffices, so I was gonna still ask for some input on language, and I guess if you guys have any input on that too, how we wanna actually, what we wanna say to that, otherwise I was gonna lean on more a little bit since they.
Okay, what is it you wanna do on section 11, which is mine?
Sorry, what? I had them all out, all this.
Which one? Top one.
Top one, so that is the west side of that, have ability to work with in that right
And the
away.
east side, which would be on Brian's side.
Yep, and so we have that permission currently, we have the east side, so we're asked, so this is a petition to work within the west side of that section line. Or in this case, it's the county road. But I have a map here, actually showing what the layout currently looks like, and I can show you where these ones land. I tried and it failed, because it's like 40 megabytes.
Essentially, Greg, the way I understand this is at any given point, the county can work within the right of way. You guys are requesting that B&I can work within the county's right of way. Correct. Establish the existing right of way.
So we are, here, I'll try to just a little bit. So the proposals that I have that are there, it's these 3 miles to work within this right away on this side. We currently have it on this side, proposing for this side as well. And then also I have included this and this, because these were not included in the last one to be able to work within this right away. We probably have some pond work that will probably occur in there in the long run, but that's what those other 2 on the bottom. The rest of these are just indicating what's currently conditions of what is closed. Yellow is basically closed, blue is also closed. Let's see some of the other things that we have.
So I have a question about that. December meeting, or no, the November meeting, the previous commission allowed the closing of these section lines. And now, can you build a road on one of them? The ends are closed.
Build a road on one of them.
I believe you mentioned at public meeting we had here last month or whatever, that you wanted to take that section line and build a road for the Kraft and the Dagley family.
Yep, we're
And being that section line's closed, can you close it, build a road on there for
So being
I'm thinking once it's closed,
building it as a private road, it's not a public
Well,
road anymore.
private or not.
The way that works out in our country is they would have to approve a reopening
We'll
of that
ask
section.
Patrick for his
Because when it's closed,
opinion on
it belongs to the landlords.
But if a section line is closed, there's no permanent closing. They're only temporary,
It can be
and
reopened.
they can be reopened.
But when
Yeah.
they're closed,
There's no permanent
trespassing.
closure of a
Right.
section line. It's just temporary.
But I'm saying, if they asked for a temporary closure and they got it, can they now build a road for two private individuals?
They gotta come back to you guys, get that okayed, I would say.
This is kind of offshooting conversation here, so I just want to take notes.
Well, I'm just going off your map here, what you're showing, the yellow ones are closed, so.
And well, I guess we can, again, I don't want to go to turn on this, but again, the impression that we had was once that's closed, that's no longer the county's road at that point in time until we turn it back over, so then, we're gonna mine through that.
It's still the landowner's
Yeah.
property.
Yep, so they have outside of that right away they have. But anyways, we can talk through that. I'll make sure we get the legal opinion on that and welcome yours as well.
Yep, send me an email.
Everything else. Justin.
And I'll remind you again, Greg, I'm all for landowner rights, and right now, I'm gonna stick with it, because not all the landowners were notified of these section line closures, and they should have been. Right, Clyde? Marvin said Marvin wasn't notified of that one.
Yep.
Will you talk to Dave?
Greg mentioned it to me one visit he had with me.
Okay.
But do you feel they should have by letter or whatever? But one visit that Greg and I had, he did mention it to me that they kind of had plans of doing that to that section. And I guess like he was letting me know that information. I kind of thought you guys knew about it too.
Okay. We'll go back and look at it.
Anything else, Chris?
No, I think I probably owe Jaden a couple things and what we'd look to advertise, and then you guys are good for the June 4th, 1 o'clock, correct?
So now you said you couldn't make it work to go on the screen, huh?
So, no, it could. I tried to email this thing. This thing's about 40
Yep.
or gigabytes, so their email kicks it back because they can't take something that big.
Because it'd be handy right now, so everybody can see what's going on, especially the landowners.
So this is, if anybody's curious, you can, the laptop over in the county thing that we put there, this is on there. It's 4.5-3. Accessible publicly.
Let me know.
Things over.
Let me know the next time, and I can bring my laptop down here.
Okay, thank you guys.
Jim, did you have any more right now?
I don't think so. Not unless you guys
Okay,
have more questions.
right on schedule.
Do you want to talk about the golf course thing, or leave that for now? The road.
That'd be in
Time for the road superintendent.
You guys tell me.
We got the, that's now, as far as golf course, being our road, or paving it.
I want to talk about the road out there, not the golf course. Okay.
Well, the road.
So the paved road, the flex fund, which was initiated 2 years ago, for the last legislative session. There will be flex fund money available again this year. It's going to be a lot quicker process with the applications. And so Dave and I met with DOT. We discussed kind of how we could enhance that application, I guess is how I would say it. And so we've got some ideas there that we'll meet with some of the area entities about to see if they want to help contribute or write letters of support. But my biggest question coming out of that meeting is that still the Flex Fund priority project for the county? And the Flex Fund, if you recall, is it's 100% funded. I mean, part of the criteria is what kind of local funding will be contributed. So that's kind of what Dave and I talked about, is getting folks like BNI and others to maybe contribute some money. But last time we went after it with Oliver County contributing no taxpayer dollars, and that was the intent again this year. Because it's a good opportunity to get a road done, road project done without paying for it locally. So last year was the only application the county did, and that's all we're aware of coming into this year, I guess. But the time crunch is probably going to be end of June that they expect those applications to be submitted.
So, question is, do we want to keep that as a priority item then?
I think so. I think even Tom, we could probably fly him out to DC and he could get some of that Doge money and help us out with it. So yeah, I think we need to stay on it. We'll be meeting again pretty quick about it.
And then if the county does want to consider funds, that's an option too. So. Okay. I'll stick around for anything a little bit, but.
Let's see, the first thing on the road superintendent is superintendent probation period. We're under 6 months.
Yeah, so
probation.
we allowed 3 months for probation, and he's been covering everything, calls me just about every day. And I just feel he knows everything he needs to do. He's been working with a lot of landowners and stuff and different projects. I just feel we could let him take over after today instead of waiting another month.
And you ready?
I believe so.
I see no problem with that.
No, I don't either.
We need a motion for that, you suppose?
Yep.
So then,
I'll second.
Yeah, motion is second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Isaiah Geiger, road approach. Is this stuff, Kenny, you're gonna handle for us now?
That's me. Yep.
Oh, there he is.
Yep. He's here.
Yeah, I just have on Google Maps here where I'm at on building the approach.
So this would be the Weber Road here, and Ryan Flex driveway and Mark Flex driveway would be here. So it's in between those two. And where he's got it, it's wide open. So, and it's kind of flat through there, so you really don't have to worry about
Okay, there is no culvert necessary in that area?
No, it's flat through there.
And you're looking how wide the?
Wide enough where I can get a semi into it and stuff. So I don't know exact width, would probably be.
The 30 footer.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 foot. I mean, you can get one, but it's tight because that road's narrow. This road's narrow anyway, so I think you're probably going to be 40 to 50 feet.
So when I got called on it, Isaiah had already started on the road.
Yep.
And so then when I got a hold of him, he cleaned up some of the mess that was on the county road.
Yep.
But the road's already built, right? Pretty much.
Some of it.
Some
Had
of it.
problems with the grader, so it started. That was before I knew I needed to get approval for.
So that was what I was questioning.
So you need approval, you're going to build the approach?
He's doing everything himself, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no problem.
Unless you guys want to build it.
this is
No.
for just into a field or residents?
It's gonna be residents.
Residents?
But does it have to be approved by the county beforehand, before we start building the project?
Yeah.
It should be, but it's connected to a county road.
Yep.
And have we done it in the past that we know?
We've put in
Not since I've been here.
approaches, but there's always, in the county funds half with, and there's usually a culvert involved, and then we work out a deal, either the that property owner pays for the culvert or he pays for the dirt work, one or the other.
What they did for me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
come and ask and it was approved.
So all we need to do is approve the building of it.
Okay. So we don't need a fee, means he'll have to go out and inspect it a couple times or anything, or leave it as is?
Someday when he's driving by, he can look at it.
I knew it when he was out there the other day. I drove by after the stuff was on the road, and he had all that cleaned up and it looked good. So
So you see no problem with it?
no, I don't see any problem where it's at.
I would just ask for a motion then to approve.
I'll make
the
that
approach.
motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
You're good to go.
That was easy. Highway utility permit for you.
We had another inquiry about a brooch also. Did you get that paper from Gary?
I think you took something, I need to fill it out.
Okay. And yeah, I think. So right south of Gary Smith's drive road that goes into his place there. It's further north. Here. So he wants to build an approach right here because he owns this property here. He wants to put an approach right here also. And wide open spots there too. It's for him to get hay in and out of.
Same situation, no culvert necessary.
No, not there either. So, and it's actually pretty flat through there, so it ain't gonna take much. He said he'd build it himself,
So we do it.
so I told him, I told him I'd bring it up to you guys if you couldn't make it, so.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion then.
Motion Dave.
I'll second it.
Second by Rob. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Highway utility permit. 4. Mike Sherrod.
Yep. It's gonna bore a water line underneath the road. So it's not gonna affect the road surface or anything at all, it's just the boring under.
So you putting the pipe in the pipe?
I think, I'm not sure what he's got on there.
That's what they asked and I did mine.
Did it?
In case there was a leak, they wanted a secondary containment.
Explain that again now.
If they put a pipe inside of a pipe, so if the primary leaks, it leaks out into the ditch instead of under the roadbed.
Okay. Yeah, cause it's for a pasture cat.
That's what mine was.
County won't be liable for anything, so.
What size line is it?
2 inch.
Our feet doesn't have to sign.
Doesn't say.
It's 2 inches, I need to put something on there. What's that?
That would be my only concern.
I don't know so we make a motion on this and we'd add that stipulation to the motion.
Okay.
And explain that.
You just need a
Stipulation.
secondary pipe
Yep.
for containment.
Yep.
So if you do have a rupture, it's not in the bid, it's in the
Okay.
ditch. However you want to word that, Judy.
Okay.
I'll make that motion with Rob's stipulations of, outer.
Secondary containment.
Yes.
Okay, motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Rod. In favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Road pass permitting for Alderman project.
So, originally when it started bringing equipment back out, there was no permits for the equipment that showed up. I think it was 4 pieces of equipment we caught. Not only not having permits, but then, you know, they were bringing across our small bridge span over, which is only 30 ton. So
Any damage?
we have to get the state out to inspect it. Kind of backlogged a little bit to get some inspection done, so.
So they've been notified?
Yep.
And that,
I-
there could be,
Atlanta, well, I talked to the trucking companies personally about not having permits and going over the bridges. Got pictures of the one semi that went over on a case quad track. Quad track itself is 71,000 pounds, not including truck and trailer. And the driver admitted to going over. I mean, he didn't dispute it.
I believe about 7 pieces of equipment went over.
Yep.
2 deep
Okay,
sixes, 2 big blades.
okay, paying for a permit now?
Yes, they
Is
paid.
that-
They paid.
they have,
And they did apply for the back permits too, I believe, right, Aiden?
The last list that I got, I think there were a couple we were still looking for, but I don't know that they've even actually gone out there yet, that I'm aware of.
Cause I got the list of the permits that we have, and the list of the permits we have currently is what's out there currently. No, nothing that's not on that list.
the question is, should there be a penalty involved in this? Patrick?
And I think Dave was working on that with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that is up to the determination of you guys.
I guess 2 phone calls I got was if we don't enforce this and the farmers start taking their overloaded trucks over it, if we allow it for this, we're gonna open the door for everybody. Could be the problem.
Okay, explain why our load pass permitting, that we're in contract with, why are they not involved in this, or are they?
They're not involved. So basically, load pass permitting is just a software that we use through the county, and we pay a fee to, it's load pass, Wise Roads, to use the permitting system so we can do permits. Because before it was a piece of paper, and we didn't know who was coming and going, and we couldn't enforce getting payment or anything like that most of the time. Load pass is not involved in going after somebody who doesn't get a permit. That is up to the county. They're just the tool that we use to get permits, basically. And I believe it was in our road use agreement.
Got a hand in the back.
Yes.
If you guys mind, I can kind of give some background on some of the situation, right? Through the project last year, we were in communication with Jaden constantly with all of the loads that we brought in and out of site to make sure that we're holding REPC and their subcontractors accountable to make sure we're staying to the RUA agreement we had with said county. When the trucks came in, we had 1 truck pass. We set a stipulation of Sean sitting outside of that bridge, stopping any other truck that isn't following their permit and taking our designated haul route into site count 20. We are working to get that mitigated, working with you guys on what that's going to cost, to reciprocate that cost to said driver and company that's not following our regulations and rules, right? Currently, we have everybody covered. We have 2 dump trucks arriving on Thursday, and those are the last 2 loads that are going to be coming in. And then we're going to be making sure we're holding everybody accountable for their way out to stay according to what we have agreement with you guys.
You said it was 1 load that came in that wasn't permitted? Or 4?
Not permitted.
Just came over the bridge.
Right.
Yep. But there was 4 loads total that weren't permitted.
And they've been back paid and up to it now, and then we've reciprocated that
you're gonna be paying a hell of a lot more leaving here because you guys, obviously, they weren't following the rules and following what they should be.
So how is the county been involved in this so far now?
Well, I contacted the trucking companies and talked to them personally. One was RDO equipment, the other one was Wagner Trucking out of Minnesota. So Wagner Trucking is the one that brought the quad track over the bridge. So
So they're aware of it.
Oh, yeah.
The contract, whoever contracted. they're
Yep.
aware of it.
They did stop after we got a hold of them
Yep.
about the overloads, because there was 2 D6s, 2 blades, the 2 scrapers,
quad track,
the quad track.
water truck.
So I guess what it comes down to, 5 years from now, the bridge starts failing. How are we gonna address it? So the county is a taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for it, I guess.
Patrick, do you have
Yeah.
an answer for us? Do you have what you think could be a
So, again, this is all perspective because nothing has come across my desk. I haven't received any reports, any citations or anything, but it seems to me to be interesting that now that people are caught doing this, we have mitigation. The road use agreement is between 2 parties. And if the other party, not being the county, chooses to employ contractors and subcontractors by terms of that agreement, you're responsible for your contractors and subcontractors. I believe that there should be consequences for this, what is objectively a willful failure to follow the road use agreement. However, nothing's come to my desk, nothing's been cited. If it were, my office would do something about it. But that's not the case, so I'm just talking prospectively here. With respect to what options you have,
I was just curious, because you guys went out there, you or Dave or somebody went out there?
I believe Dave was taking care of that.
Nothing's been turned in yet?
I have no idea.
and again, I can't do anything unless it comes to my attention. If things come to my attention, rest assured I will act. But I need it to come to my attention. So now we're sitting here talking about this again. I believe that there should be consequences for this, but that's a decision you make. You have the authority under our agreement to hold them accountable for their willful violations of the road use agreement. That's my opinion. That's what I got. And if they're unhappy with whatever sanctions you issue as a result of that violation of the road use agreement, I guess they can go after their contractors and subcontractors. That's not your problem. It's always.
You sounds like you know what's across there and what going over there.
And I want to respond to something too. So you asked a very good question about if that bridge fails, what do we do about it? Well, I think that you should take that into consideration as you consider what a proper sanction would be for this. Because people are always going to ask for forgiveness later. Not really very helpful. Just my opinion.
So you do need the police report for
Well, I mean, again, if you
the
respect
story,
my
or do you need the
if my office is
road superintendent or what?
if my office is going to do anything on behalf of the county, I need a report that demonstrates what occurred. However, this is an issue where there's clearly been a violation of the road use agreement. I don't know that I have to do anything. I think you guys are the ones that need to determine whether there's a sanction or not and what that sanction is. And the road use agreement allows you to do that. I mean, that's what I got for you.
I guess one option we could do is if he wants to meet Mark, Sheriff's Department, Kenny and I, and probably Jaden, we could sit down and talk about it, maybe work something out. I'd be open to it if you guys are fine with it.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Well, you know, the other option is, well, let's find him $10,000. I think we could sit down and work jointly. I'd like to see that, but I think there again, all the people that got across that bridge every day, and knowing a quad track went over that was way over the weight limit. The taxpayer again shouldn't be responsible if something does fail. So I'd be willing to do that.
Dave, Kenny?
Mark, you go to that? You guys?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys pick your time.
I got a
I have a
question.
couple of questions, man.
So I'm working on bringing the dozer in the county right now. So are you saying that I don't need to do a load pass and we'll just work it out later?
No, we'll need to do a little bit.
So
I mean, that's basically what it feels like, though. What they're doing is a service for them by what they've clearly violated, as Patrick has given his opinion, they violated the road use agreement. If I violate the road use agreement, they're gonna do something about it, which is why we're working with the contractor, bringing in the dozer to do the road pass.
So we gotta stay consistent, how we
Yeah.
handle everybody.
Agreed, and if I could add to that, like, this isn't the first time. When you bring in a dozer, everybody knows you say route, you find road, you bring everything in. This isn't NextEra's first time in this county. They know exactly what that road limit is, and it's a blatant miscalculation.
Well, if
You
I
see what
remember
I'm saying?
right, somebody told me, I think we talked that they did use the other road, the alternate one to the south in the past to
Right?
avoid this bridge.
You know where
So
this
the
bridge
question
is.
comes in, why'd they do it this time?
Yep.
Tell the guy, put the sign out by the church there.
That's out there.
And that was, I mean, to understand the couple hundred truckloads that we brought inside, right? And everything was successful and that we had everything handled. The first truck that came back into this county to start the reclaim, that truck driver didn't follow his state permitted route and he went an extra mile and turn. Right, so we're gonna handle that with the accountability, what it takes for the management from Flatner managing their subcontractor. Already on that accord, right? And I don't wanna sit here and tell you guys that I'm not gonna do anything about it, right? And I completely understand us being held accountable for that situation because they're all here working for us, right? So just please know that we've done damn good on making sure all of our heavy loads that came in that entire year went the same the route right, and then did what was supposed to. Right?
So what changed?
We had one road driver. No, the load, we're talking about the bridge.
Okay.
Just the bridge. The load pass situation, that's been a situation literally all year long. Right, and that's me and Jaden, we're in constant communication with the checks and balance. Hey Jaden, what are you seeing coming through? This is what we got coming in, and then we were holding everybody accountable because we unfortunately couldn't get on the load pass system to see what permits are getting put in. So then we were just staying in communication with her to keep everybody accountable to make the processes work appropriately.
I think when the project started, I was contacted first by the road superintendent at the time, asking if this road had gotten a permit, and there were several of them, and I said, I've not seen anything. And that's when the communication started as
Yeah.
far as, hey, you guys didn't get your permits. And
Is
I
that-
did make the commissioners aware last year that it was a problem.
That first load that came through, he didn't follow the permit requirement because he didn't have a permit.
And that's the issue, right? So that's the downside to us being over everybody is we don't have the access to check that.
Right.
And that's why we were in communication with Jane to check that.
And those loads came in about a week early. We weren't even expecting them that day.
Well, when I talked to Wagner, because they were the trucking company, went over that bridge, he left a day early from when he was scheduled. So, I mean,
It's not a week.
And I guess the response to that would be, so? Right? I mean, so what?
Jim, is there something where we need to get you involved?
Not knowing at all what where the structure is or what type of structure it is or anything, there could potentially be like an inspection. First, an inspection that happened previously that we could go look for, and then a post
This would be
inspection.
about a mile west of Hanover, of the intersection.
Oh, okay. I know where. Yeah, and then also, I guess just to CYA, you're not gonna notice everything that happens on a heavy load over a structure just by a visual inspection either, so.
Can't get your name again.
DJ Gleason, sir.
DJ, okay.
Guess you guys sit down, discuss, and then get something for Patrick. Am I correct?
Yeah, we start working on it.
Okay. Roads within Oliver Wind project area is our next topic.
Well, with of course with the rain we've had and everything, we've had a lot of complaints over slippery roads. We've had a lot of complaints, rough roads, crappy roads in general in that area. We've contacted the new superintendent for Blatten that's out there. They started blading them 2 days ago. So they're working on it. There's a lot of work to do. A lot of gravel haul. The gravel that's on there is not gonna cut it. Dave's got some stuff from last week. We met with a couple landowners that were literally use 4-wheel drive to get to them.
So that was April 29th. Kitty and I drove around. I followed him. I was doing 20 miles an hour and he was fishtailing in front of me. But we've got, there's several here that are very concerned, have been calling. So we got to get to it. Here's a picture of a male lady that was out by Mark Elbers's. I guess I could read the letter. This is from a Susie who delivers mail at Hanover area. To whom may concern, on April 29th, 25, the road, 17th Street Southwest in Hanover, was barely passable. This was not the first time since last summer. Every time it rains or snow melts, it turns into a slippery, slimy mess. I've only made it through thanks to the 4-wheel drive. As a mail carrier, we are not required to travel on unsafe road conditions. I would deem 17th Street Southwest unsafe in a wet condition, as it currently does not have appropriate road material. We risk it to deliver our mail to all the people out there, customers out there. There are no roads in this kind of condition in her 100-mile route. And that's a picture of her vehicle. So I don't know if you guys want that. Mark Elbers also wrote one. Is a little longer. I guess I'll just let you guys read it, but it talks about how bad the road is compared to the way it was. Mark supported this whole project right at the beginning. He says now if he ever had to do it again, he wouldn't. He's made that comment several times. In fact, he drove this letter in today. He just liked to see the road back to as good or better than what he had, along with the fences that got to be corrected. I think Mark and them are going to address that. We talked about it last month. When Mark was showing a former county commissioner this road last fall, he said this is not good gravel. And the commissioner said, yeah, I know. So he just liked to see the road get back to what is good or better than it was. And I apologize, Mark, for not reading the whole thing, but it's kind of short version. And then we also have a letter from Tara Dukart that I think is in both your files. So I'm not going to read all this, but part of it says, we've heard rumors that NextEra has other projects they're looking at in Oliver County. And so they're just urging us to make sure everything's right before we allow another project and support the landowners and the taxpayers for the roads. And I know Mark and I have talked about it a couple times already, and I just think because they all keep calling, and, we gotta sit down and get something, we gotta get to the bottom of this. Cause, that day Kenny and I drove 64 miles. It was pretty ugly, just about everywhere we drove. That included the Hazen Road, which has 2 potholes that Kenny marked with orange flags. That were all used by the project.
Kenny, do
And
they
the
have a plan for gravel?
What's that?
Do they have a plan for gravel? Cause
As of not yet, you guys.
Where's the work?
Well, I think mine fit in. I mean, right, so to go back 14 months when, we started this. March, April, and May, I was the guy here on site full time. I was the guy who brought the RUA and the map. The commission wouldn't sign, tell you road and bridge suit agreed to, right? We brought that in March 13th, met with Kyle Miller, brought him the map, and went and drove site with him, right, to pinpoint areas that he has issues with, and consistently with the heave frost issues. Come out and look at, get his perspective of, what we can do to help to manage those. 17th was a issue since we got here, right? We actually put in just under 2 miles of subgrade cement stabilization on that stretch before that hill to get at bottom. Because when we showed up here and we have documentation of pictures, we were having trucks buried to their axles, right, on pre-existing county material. So we went in, put that cement in, reused the existing road base on top of that, rolled it, worked it, and we've done that at multiple locations on this job site. We also, by advisement of the county and the previous road and bridge suit, are using the gravel and the quarry that they told us to use, right? Class 13 out of the quarry that we were brought to on the 13th to start that process with. Also want to make mention of potholes and blowouts from the heaviture, but we took the recommendation from the prior superintendent on scoria clay, right? We would dig out the road base, dig out that subgrade material, procure that scoria from locally, pack it in there, roll it in there, put a bottom to it, put the road base back on it, and keep trucking. So in reality, I want to resolve these issues with you guys. I know, obviously now we're pulling the shoulders in and getting that gravel back on the road. Looks like a lot of those roads kind of need a lot of help. And kind of wanted to start the process over with the new administration that we had last year, which every Wednesday we would meet with the road and bridge suit. We would drive site, look at his concerns, go over where he was getting calls. It moved every 2 weeks, and then at the end, we brought him back in every week to talk about where we're done working and where we're through and transition these road areas to Kyle. Doesn't sound like the new administration had got that communication. I think we got some shuffle of information in that we want to resolve and make right. Get resolutions, go look at these areas, drive around, make plans, and fix everything we can.
Okay, so to Katie's question, gravel. I believe Mark did send me the test samples.
Yep.
And Kenny had looked at it and it doesn't meet the requirements, so.
Well, according to who had it tested, it says it needs a class 13.
Yeah, to 13, but.
That's the specification we got.
Yeah, that.
You guys literally told us he was class 13.
Was that previous?
Have they ever looked at the fabric to put under the road bed?
The geofab?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's wrong with that? We used to use it in the mine all the time.
Nothing was wrong. It just wasn't given to us as a specification from the county when we started this project, right? We're just going off of what was stipulated to us that is normal to this area and what to expect with the locally sourced material.
So if they would give you that today, would you look at doing that?
We've already done the work, so the gravel's already out there. We used it all year.
Roll that, put the fabric on and half the road, roll it back. Then put the fabric on the rest.
We can't go back to square one, and that's the issue, right? We've done the work to put in what was specified to us to do, and if we go back, we're gonna do everything over again is too much. We can't.
So we should live with that.
No, it's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm
You say you
saying.
can't go back and do it over.
Okay, so,
Hold on.
Okay. This is a county commission meeting, not a counseling session.
Excuse me.
The only other parts of this in the slippery conditions, right, and this is why I wanted to bring this up specifically, is that road abatement was a huge, huge topic up here, right? We spent a lot of time, a lot of money on dust mitigation with water and chloride, right? We chlorided this whole damn place 3 times. And now we're seeing what the conditions of the roads in the wintertime in this area does to that. And obviously that probably wasn't the best option, right? And that's where we're gonna work with Ladner on the mitigation plan of breaking that hard pan, rolling that stuff in, diluting that, and then packing in exactly how it should be before we shred it.
Have you had a chance to drive out?
Not yet.
So, as the county, we took 2 miles on the Hazen Road. We dug down to the roadbed and we rolled it back and forth, mixed everything together. It took 2 days and 2 machines to do 2 miles.
Talked to Sean and Bladner about that process and
I have talked to Sean.
No, I know you have.
Yeah.
I did too this
Yeah.
morning.
And got a lot of good feedback on those 2.
Right. And that's why we're here for resolution, right? And that's why I want to get with you, get in a truck. Sean, do the exact same thing. What do we need to do to make this right and fix what a failed experiment?
Right.
So you're not doing gravel, you can just make some events.
On the Hazen Road. Mark Elbers Road, we gotta get something on there.
And we have access material. We're coming back to basically reclaim 1/3 of the project site off county roads, right? So we have access material there. We're pulling up a lay down yard material there. We have pretty good amount of material. We're gonna be able to move. We got 2 dump trucks showing up Thursday to take care of these spots that are more that need help.
So I can show you.
Just a question, isn't that materials located at the yard at Bardman's, close to Bardman's?
One of them.
And that material's the same as came out of this pit, which is sand gravel, right? And like, there's all sorts of things, especially given our former road boss's location of that pit and the fact that he's no longer employed here, that spreading that gravel on top is not gonna fix the issue.
We were also told that, and this could all be rumor, but we were told that that gravel at the laydown area that Brink used was promised to a private landowner.
That was promised to several private landowners.
That was stopped.
I didn't.
Yeah, that was automatically.
There's a big pile there right now, it's not going anymore. 6 inches in foot.
That's 2 feet.
We went down 2 feet.
Gravel from the T-line yard
That
on
was the only way to get
17th
it back.
is a different
And bring
pit.
it clay in, so we have to bind it.
and the stuff for this
Because it's so
21st
safe.
yard.
So we need to
Yeah.
30 miles.
But it does work. And the people that are out there,
Where you've done that.
I've done 2 miles.
I have a question.
I guess just a suggestion to maybe resolve some of this, but I guess per road use, there was supposed to be a video of every county road that was traveled.
Yep.
Can they reference that video to,
That's the final closeout for the IUA. Same as or better. So we have the pre-county road inventory, right? It's just on very large files. And what we do is that's how we hold our EPC accountable, is they cannot be released from their responsibilities until we review that and make sure that it's the same as and better. And that's what we have, and that's what we're gonna use for all accountability purposes.
Well, I have sent pictures to Mark and Sarah, texted them. I don't know if you've seen them, but I've got a bunch here. I guess you wanna know what it's like taking your wife down the road 20 miles an hour and have her video a fishtailing pickup in front of you. It doesn't go good. But, they're very unhappy. So we better have a good solution. And I'm hoping you have a better one, what you're saying right now. That Hanover, Mark Elber's Marvin Road definitely needs a lot of help. But the further we get west to the Hazen Road, there's a lot of bad spots there, like you say, spots.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so Kenny, why don't you make a list of what you feel needs to be improved on?
And I got no problem meeting you
We'd
out.
like to just drive out there, sir, and be able to.
They have, the contract says they have to return it to it as good, if not better than what it originally was.
And I got
So
no problem.
you make the list and.
Yep.
We'll take it from there, because I know there's areas all over, cause I out there this morning.
And Kenny, that process has already been started.
Yep,
Right? We
yep.
just wanna involve us to make sure we can hold them accountable just the same.
Yeah, and I've talked to Sean, the new guy that's been out there. He's been great to work with, so hopefully we can keep moving forward and get this stuff fixed, because it needs to be.
How about the rocks north of the, or south of the substation? Or by the substation, what's going on there?
So I checked with Sean the other day, and he's not part of that contractor, but on the substation,
Basically from 19th to
Yeah.
probably 20th?
yeah, but they took the leftover
19,
rocks
18?
out of the substation and just dumped them on the road.
The road, the right of way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they dumped them right down
on the road.
Yeah, it's the, what is it? Is it inch, 1 inch minus?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're sharp.
It's crushed rock.
It's
That's
crushed. I mean,
Yes.
it's sharp.
Good, yeah.
Road surface.
Yeah. So
Okay, we'll get that handled.
yeah,
I talked to the guy yesterday already, said that's probably, might be a problem.
yeah, because that we can. I mean, even if something was just put over top of it, so you know, but to leave the rock bare, you know, for the farmers or anybody going down there, they're gonna. That would not be pleasant.
Isn't each one of these tower site a 911 address?
Yeah, so that, to
We have
my
emergency
Yeah.
vehicles that may or may not have to get down those roads.
Yes, no, completely understand the situation. They took our excess substation material and spread it out where they shouldn't have. Right? So we'll get that resolved.
When?
Within the next month and a half of our reclamation plan. But that will be quick and easy because they're just moving north from the G line and they're right next to the substation still, so we can jump on that.
So that's the plan is, 6 weeks, you hope to be done with everything?
That's the plan right now, but obviously weather dependent, so I mean, it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take. Right? We're not gonna sit here, we're gonna be gone this day, right? We're gonna send communication, make sure we get everything done the right way and make stuff right.
Blattner is under the impression that they are in and out of here in 6 weeks. So
Blattner
next-
works for me, and
Okay.
we're gonna do as I say.
But she is right.
They are very adamant they will be
They
in and out in
take that
6 weeks.
I know, I just talked to him yesterday, and they said it was at least 7 weeks.
He's
At
told,
least,
I know at least 3 people, 6 weeks they'll be out of here. And that was Sean himself.
And that was the original plan, but guess what?
Okay, we'll leave it at that. You're gonna get together, you're coming up with a list.
So I have just one more thing that I'd like to bring up, in the sake of the fact that you guys are county commissioners, and it seems as if Dexterra has trouble honoring their agreements ahead of time. There is multiple landlords out there that have not been paid for their crop damages that were done last year. We were promised that we would be paid, and it has not happened. And in the last 2 weeks, whether you have attorneys or not, they have gone completely silent. And I want that to be made public because you represent us as commissioners, and this is a huge area that has been just totally ignored.
Are you talking about an agreement that the individual landowners and
No, not participation agreement or tower site payments. It's crop damages that they did on rented land or owned land during construction. Those bills have been negotiated, lied about, renegotiated, and now it's just gone silent.
But this isn't something the county was a part of. It's just you're bringing it up to let the commissioners know about possible
Correct.
things to consider in future projects.
You have constituents out there that are waiting on bills. And I think Miss Sarah Montoya had said everybody'd been paid, and I don't think that has happened. I know myself and 3 or 4 others haven't heard a thing. So, like I say, we're on camera, we're public, it's not going anywhere.
I just need to make sure I understand. So the damages that I'm assuming you're part of this.
Right.
Right. So the damages that you're claiming occurred on your land due to construction done pursuant to a rental agreement that you had.
Correct. So we rent crop ground. They destroy crop damage, right? There's a formula that they have in their compensation agreement. X number of acres, yield rate, all of this stuff, right? Revenue loss. Those are out there. They haven't been paid. They haven't even been signed. What's missing in that contract is a date when they have to pay up.
And this is a contract that was written by whom?
NextEra, and then handed to us as crop damage forms.
Okay, so unfortunately, I can't get involved in that.
I understand.
But what I can tell you is that in future projects, I'm going to remember this.
Thank you.
I think to piggyback on Darren's comment a little, not on the crop compensation, but a little bit to that point, is I feel like everybody's, like we're having, and the commission is hearing us,
Yes.
but it's not, nothing is getting accomplished. I mean, we're on the third commission meeting where here we are talking about NextEra and road use and weeds and all these kinds of things, and there's just nothing happening. There's some communication, hey, we'll meet with you, I'll get back to you, this and that, but it's so lost. There's just no communication. And I know Mark and I have a meeting with my family finally set up, but it was a matter of calling 3 different people and saying, hey, we are going to meet this week. Like, and that's it. And it hasn't happened yet. So until that meeting happens, I can honestly say.
Well, what would you have the commissioners do about that?
I'm not saying that the
I'm
commissioners
just
can do
asking
anything
because-
from that point, but I think it's something that when they're talking about misuse with this load pass thing, and they're driving over the bridges, this is not the first time we've been discussing this over and over again. Like,
That's true.
how many times can we give them private meetings? And I give Dave a ton of credit, and Kenny. They were out there last week for hours and hours out there. But we're on our 3rd meeting, and here we are punting this again until we do something about it to make them accountable to the county and the landowners.
Well, if something shows up on my desk, it's not going to take 3 meetings to have something done. And I'm not saying that anybody's done anything wrong, but I hear what you're saying. I would love to enforce this.
If I could add, I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like the commissioners to freeze NextEra until they pay their constituents for the damages that happened last year.
Not something that they could do.
On the other part, Kurt did call me Thursday.
I mean, I don't know, Darren, I've been working with most of the landowners. I mean, we do have 1,000 acres, 60 landowners, plus tenants. I'm the only one on, like I said, on your situation. You know, you can speak for yourself, but I mean, they are coming in. We do have to get also landowner approval, send to GRA, developer approval. I think I've pretty much reached out to everybody on the list, or if they call me. We got a lot of it covered. There's checks coming in still, yes. Have they paid on some? Yeah. I mean, they've been getting processed as we go. But I would say when I talked to Dave, I went through the list and the spreadsheet for how many people I talked to and what we have done. And I said I can send it to Dave too to show him all the people we've reached out to, signed, or what we're status, what we're waiting on. You know, if that's landowner. You know, sometimes we meet with the tenant, and we meet with the landowner. Takes time. I'm the only one on it. But I mean, we have a lot of landowners covered and talked to, and anybody that has been, we try to meet with them. But overall, I did that list that I can send to Dave. I mean, we have pretty much everybody has been sent the waiting on or signed or tenant signed. So overall, crop comp's coming in.
You know, that has been said multiple times. You personally have told me 5 or 6 different names, and they actually haven't been paid. So to be totally honest, Kurt's
Well, they have multiple landowners.
Hold on, whoa. Stop.
Casey Fury from.
1 second.
I would hope if we could maybe stop this conversation. and
One
keep it
second.
outside.
Let me speak. Everyone here has heard what you said. This issue is not before the commission right now. If there's specific actions that the commission can take, or if something comes across my desk, something will be done about it. But what we can't do is we can't have this meeting devolve into an open discussion. People are gonna get upset. That's just not how commission meetings work. So everyone, I'm quite sure that these gentlemen have heard what you said. I've heard what you said. I get that you want something done about it. Something needs to be done about it.
Did you have a comment?
I was just saying that this conversation is more appropriate for outside of this meeting, so essentially exactly what Patrick is, I think, the point that he's getting to.
Or this conversation would be appropriate if it were properly noticed as a conversation to be had about this issue.
I mean, in all due respect, you know, particulars of private agreements and
Agreed.
payment, status of payments, that's the subject matter of a private contractual arrangement. And so it's just not the subject matter, that falls under the purview of the county.
Yep, and that's why I said what I said, but that's not going to stop me from remembering this when I advise the county in the future about negotiating road use agreements or any other agreement.
And I think it comes up from a county perspective because this is the one point you can actually get people.
Yep.
That's why it ends up here.
A lot of unanswered phone calls out there.
Okay, we've already made our decision. Kenny's gonna meet, we're gonna discuss, and he's gonna get back to us what needs to be done. End of the topic. Okay, let's go on to section line closures.
The only one we have is we talked about, we don't have.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Okay, that was on,
That
okay?
was the thing.
And then, is that part of two that we talked about the signing that one? Is that what you're talking about?
No, just that section line that you guys are gonna,
One between Forsberg's and, Pлагers and,
Yeah, so when it's closed, then it's still accessible to the landowners and tenants at this point in time is what it is, by a temporary closure in the county.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the timeline on all this? As far as whatever's gonna take place and when it takes place?
so Clyde, I'll get with you after the meeting, because now we gotta get to the bids. But I think Greg and I and you could talk, and whoever else wants to listen, because there's a lot of conversation on it.
You bet.
Thank you.
And the road updates were covered already?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, bid opening.
They're not in any particular order. So some of them I think have multiple bids for pieces.
Why don't you open up that, Dave, read it.
Okay, I'd like to place a bid on the flat wheel loader, from Michael Schmidt for $6,500.01. Am I supposed to read the names?
Yeah, I need that.
Okay. The overhead hoist from Kevin Hazel for $250. And the Cub Cadet lawnmower for $750. Okay, the Cub Cadet mower from Randy Schmidt for $379. And the 2001 sand truck, $6,679.99.
Read that again?
6679.99. Oh, there it is. Okay, the Cub Cadet lawnmower, Clyde Flieger, $500. The Oliver wheel packer, $300.
Slow down. First one, please. I'm sorry.
Okay, the lawn tractor, the Cub Cadet,
Okay.
$500.
Okay.
The wheel packer, $300.
Okay.
And that's from Clyde Flieger.
Okay. Thank you.
The brush wood chipper from Dustin Engelstead from Bismarck, $517.69. Okay, Ray Schmidt, the truck spreader, 2001, $6,481.
So which one is that?
The international, the truck.
2001, yep.
Yeah. And then, the green payloader, $5,181. The steel overhead stand, $481. The tree shredder, $158. And the Packer, $381. This is from Timothy Munt from Center. Okay. The 1985 Dodge Crew pickup, $3,021.52. Okay, Clyde Fleeger, the overhead hoist for $50. Dean Windhorse, $611 on the Cub Cadet lawn tractor.
600 and what?
And the last one from Troy Hudson Builder, the payloader, $8,750. And the A-frame rack, which would be the hoist, right, $600. And then the wood chipper, $3,825. That's it.
That is all the bids, and there has been a bid on every piece of equipment. I guess I would ask for a motion to accept the high bid for each piece of equipment.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, sold. Okay, there. Time period for payment. Is that listed?
It was not listed in the app, that was kind of up to you guys once we did what we.
Usually paid before we move.
Yeah, we can't draw it out the day before.
Yeah,
I would say 1 week.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll go along with that recommendation. Must be picked up or paid for at least.
Paid for before picking up, pick up within 1 week.
Yeah. Preferably during business hours.
1 week during business hours.
Okay, yeah, okay, Kenny.
So the Kinsman reflectors done today. 45 mile an hour speed limit on 35th Avenue, which is past Brent Isaacs, which is on the north side. Yep, well, there's a small stretch in there that's 35 miles an hour, but then there was nothing reposted after that, so they were thinking the whole road is 35. So north of the houses, it goes up to 45. And that was put up today also. Mike and Laura Huber stop sign is fixed, that's done. Posts and everything is missing there. Fence at the county shop is complete, the repair on that. We did the concrete, we filled the pit with concrete this morning, so that's done, the in-floor pit. So Dave was supposed to be there for that, but he didn't show up.
Except my assistant.
The fuel tank, the 12,000 gallon fuel tank will be delivered this time.
Yeah.
Yep, got that. So actually we were out testing the Wyman gravel out there. We got the big siding pile, so we were able to grab some right down in there, so.
Okay.
And we'll be testing for gravel. We got a big area to look for. out by Hanover Road, so we're gonna start that tomorrow. It looks promising. We'll see. So, and the only other question I had was, job applications that we put out. I think all we got back is the one, I believe, right?
I don't know if Alice has gotten it.
She never got
They
it.
No,
don't
she never
send
got
it to
anything.
me, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if you guys wanna, I do have the application, I know you guys, but that's just a copy of it.
So just so you know, Brent wanted slower speed signs by his house, so they put 35. And then 2 bus drivers called, they wanted to know why they had to drive 35 all the way down. So we bumped it up to 45.
Okay.
And he does actually live in town. He is yes, he works for RDO and he currently, he lives in the apartments in Center. Up here, so.
Now, we turned over to Alice.
Yeah.
That's a replacement for your location.
No, that's, well, possibly, or,
Really short now.
yeah, so.
So it's temp, summer.
Yeah, with option to go full time. Yep.
Do you want to keep this or you want Judy to help?
But they have one.
Okay.
And then the job salaries for the current interim supervisor. What do we want to do there?
So we paid Daryl $32 an hour.
32.26.
Yeah, that's what I said. So anyway, now that he's not gonna be road superintendent anymore, what do we wanna do?
He's gonna stay on.
Dylan's Hall.
He drives gravel truck and he's been out blading.
Yeah, he's gonna be blading this summer.
So he's classified as a temp because he can't get retirement because he's drawing from retirement. Our temps currently are at 30.
30.
And then the full-time permanent blade
47 or
operators
something.
are 30. 26. I
Yeah.
think they're $2
Yep.
below what the road superintendent salary was.
So the question is, do we wanna leave where he is? But Beach Kenny's taking the position full-time now. What are we gonna do with him? I guess,
I believe we need to go to the temporary wage, because that's what he is.
which is how much?
The temp, the full-time, well, they're the summer temps, seasonal temps, they're full-time, so 40 hours a week. They get $30 an hour, is what they're at currently.
I think that's something, probably before we make a decision, maybe we should talk to Alice on that, because, I don't know, if he can rightfully be listed as a temporary, because he's been doing this all along.
He stepped in when we needed him most.
Yep.
I'll do that, I'll work with Alice, and Katie and Daryl.
Like, because we gotta be a little cautious in what we do. Okay.
And then what's the salary? I didn't forget to ask you, if we hire somebody to, like this guy that applied, what salary do they start out at?
If he's a temp, if he's applying as a temp,
Okay.
it'll be 30. They're all at the same wage. None of them are at a different level.
Which probably should have a difference in it. You know, if you're starting out new, or probably should be getting less than the guys that have been working here for 20 years.
Budgeting season is coming up, so if that's something you guys wanna look at for all positions, we can have that discussion during our budget meetings.
So, yeah, other than that, fuel trailer,
You still working with that?
it's going to be,
Difficult.
yes, you know, especially when nobody else wants it.
I'm on the desk.
Yeah, and yeah, so do I. I mean, it's kind of said something today, would we be better off cutting our losses and trading them off?
What we're coming down to is you gotta have your, CDL and all the
Even if
permits
it's
and testing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Do we advertise it and try to sell it and go back to the little tape?
Like you said, you can look,
We can do up to 150. Is what I call the state fund out. We can do 150, so if we put one of them and 2 pickups, we cover.
you sell it, yeah.
Yeah.
I can put my ear in.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of money back.
Okay. Because it's, tanks never been filled, it's. So.
I guess you guys are wondering, Rob and Kenny and I didn't do all of our homework. And we bought this fuel tank to go out and fill the blades when they're, when they can stay out in the roads. And we didn't know all the regulations. Now we gotta deal with it, so.
Farmers have a 990 gallon exemption. We can pull a 990 gallon tank. Government cannot.
So if you're looking for a fuel tank.
Thought I knew the rules, I didn't realize government's got its own.
So, that's all I got.
I have one more thing for you and for Keith, probably. We're by the log cabin.
Yep.
We have a hole in the ground that is a hazard.
Yep.
I'm gonna get something done on that before.
We were
Old settlers.
What do you?
Kids run around.
We were still waiting on what you guys wanted to do.
Well, doesn't Judy isn't she in charge of that, historical society?
Yep.
Well, she'd have to build it.
Yeah.
With you're talking about a log cabin there.
Yeah, where that big hole is.
Yeah, that's gotta be fixed, yeah.
Yeah. I looked at it and I said, it probably should be filled, but maybe you should look at from the basement, if we fill it with some type of fill, like paving wall.
That's what we looked at before, and that's what I'm worried about, because there's already a slope on that wall. If we put a bunch of gravel in there, I'm scared it's gonna push out.
Oh, it's underneath.
We need to cover it with planking then, or build a porch.
What was that for in the first place?
That used to be the old sewer.
That was the old sewer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't go digging too far.
Okay. Well, I just thought maybe if your guy could build over it again, you could put a nice heavy duty treated wood or something.
Yes, yes. Get that done before
old settler
kid falls in there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was gonna talk to Judy on it to do it, but I guess, yeah, it don't matter.
Did you wanna do it, or do you want?
I can do it. I'll have to go look at it and see what it's all of it entails. So I just go pick up, go to Menards, get the lumber, and then.
I think it's
Is he on the deal?
4 by 12 or
I
5
will
by
double
12.
check.
Well, I can pay for it. Can I just pay for it?
They can put you.
We have a trigger.
We have a
Oh, you
charge
do
there,
it?
so.
Oh, okay.
I will double check who's all on there. If you're not, I'll get you out.
Or if nothing else, I could go
Or
with
Kenny
them too.
can go too.
Or
we did, we could.
We both, yeah, maybe me and Ken can both look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Judy on that to see, cause I thought she was in charge of it, but. Cause I was wondering, well, I went across with the lawnmower last year and part board popped up with uh-oh.
Because I also thought about steel, like tread plate across there.
Yeah, we could use steel too.
Just because one and done, it's not gonna run away.
Whatever you come up with, it needs.
It needs to be fixed, yeah, I'm looking at that too. You're right.
Okay, next on the agenda. Planning and zoning. Heather.
The first thing we have are the moratoriums.
Yeah.
You done with it anyway.
So, the planning and zoning board at their last meeting, I emailed you about this, asking you about the process. No, that's fine. I asked you, the planning and zoning board at their last meeting decided that they would like to have a, hearing as far as reinstating the moratoriums. They did the first reading. This is just us bringing it to you guys as commissioners. I made them aware that obviously this isn't a guarantee that you guys would pass these again, but because
we are working on the ordinances, so we don't feel that these moratoriums would be in place for very long. But we have.
We've already acted on this, we've already rejected the moratoriums. for good reason. That we listen to what the full conversion counties say, we listen to what the state's attorneys say, we listen to legislatures, and they say our best move as a small county in the energy area is to get rid of energy-related moratoriums. So that's what we did.
Correct.
And that's what we need to do for the best of the county.
I explained this to our planning and zoning board, why these were lifted, the reasoning behind it, because we had the commissioner from Mercer County who came in and spoke to us. I explained the reasoning. The majority of the board is just requesting you to reconsider. So we did the process. I did ask if it was okay. I did ask Patrick because we follow the proper 2-week notice. Now, whether or not you guys agree to this, obviously this is in your hands, so.
Earlier this year, Lad Erickson came into a meeting, and the coal conversion counties are working toward kind of a group for the 3 coal county areas to come up with similar type ordinances. And I think they've all agreed to this point that you need to get rid of moratoriums. Patrick, have you worked with Lad at all in that? Because he asked you at that meeting whether you'd get.
I haven't heard from him. What Lad proposed is a pretty big project, particularly if we're going to entertain, similar ordinances. I've been a state's attorney for a couple of years, including this job, but I've never personally dealt with issues like that. They're complicated and should be handled thoughtfully. If and when I hear from them, I'll be sure to update the commissioners on that.
I guess I want to have the coal conversion counties now. That's Mercer, McLean, Oliver. And we have a coal conversion, like Dave's on it right now, committee, at the executive committee. There's 3 people from each county on that committee. There's a commissioner, there's a city member, usually city social or whatever from the city, and also the school is represented. So there's a 9-person executive committee. And about 10 years ago now, possibly, there was joint meetings between the coal counties, the gas counties, and oil counties. And we've been really fortunate that we were able to get a representative from the coal conversion counties as a member of the oil and gas. So they have, and we have now, excellent lobbyists. I mean, they do a lot for us. In fact, they saved our county when there was in the 2017 legislature and 3 bills that came up, all would have pretty much eliminated Oliver County. They were brought up by a senator from the coal counties, by a governor, powerful people. And the lobbyists from the oil and gas counties, along with our good lobbyists from the coal conversion, saved our county. So we can't just separate ourselves from what they're recommending now, and which is that we get rid of these moratoriums, and we just don't have them. So that's why I'm recommending that we do not have these moratoriums.
I get that, but also, I mean, they were a good idea to you guys back then.
The moratorium is set up so you get a time to study a project, and it's not to prevent a project from occurring, but.
And that's why we want to reinstate them, because we are currently working on we just need a couple months. But the reason why the planning and zoning wanted to come back with these moratoriums is we're getting phone calls. And if you don't have something in place before those ordinances go through, that could be detrimental to what we're doing. So that's why we brought them again, because we already have ordinances. Patrick has seen them.
Well, we're talking about the moratoriums now, not.
We
ordinances.
are, but what I'm saying is with the moratorium, when we first presented it a few months ago, we said a year, 2 years, whatever. We really didn't have a time frame. Now we know that we have, months, if that. Because we do have stuff in place. Like I said, we sent it to Patrick to look over. So all we need is just a little bit of time in case people are coming in with these applications. That's all we're asking. Because we do. I don't want to give you the ordinance right now because obviously it's in the works, but it's pretty solid.
Okay, so what you're telling me, we're past the moratorium stage because you.
No, we're not, because if we get an application and we don't have something in place, they'll walk all over us. That's why we said it, that's why we started this process right now. We had the planning and zoning, we had the first reading, we just need the second reading to put it in place. We're going to have the ordinance discussed later this month. We're trying to get this going as quickly as possible.
I guess I kind of agree, I've been reading up on it. Like these data center that's looking this Black Mountain, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have something, what's gonna protect us? If you read up on the data center, it takes a lot of electricity, it takes a lot of water. And what do we have right now to protect us? As far as the state, I guess I lost a lot of respect what the legislation did this year. 2208 and 1258 would have sold our county out and city. It took the power away from us. And that's where I think the moratorium doesn't hurt us. Everybody's got moratoriums. I've talked to Williams County, McKinsey. We've been in contact with Bowman.
Have you brought it up at the co-conversion meeting?
We haven't had
you
one.
brought it up to,
No,
brought it
I
up
talked
to
to
the
Laz last
legislature?
week.
Have you,
I've been down to Capitol 7 times this legislation, yeah. Tried to talk to some, you know what it's like.
okay, well, I guess I'm going to do it. Right now, I'm gonna bring it up to, one of you can make a motion either way to reject the moratoriums or to approve the moratoriums. And I tell you right away, I'm gonna vote no on it, but go ahead. Does somebody want to make a motion?
Well, I'll make the motion, because I've been, Matt Wilkins has been helping write them, and I guess we need it.
You're talking about ordinances now.
No, we're
Motion for a
not.
moratorium.
We're talking about moratorium, but you're saying we don't have ordinances. We do have them in the works, ready to be discussed. So the moratorium shouldn't last very long. It's just for that time period if we should get an application.
Till the ordinance is
Right.
I guess.
It's not a no, it's a, can you give us a little bit of time to put some rules in place that are okay, not overly restrictive, but okay. And then yes.
How much time do you need?
Like I said, we have them. We've already sent them to Patrick.
I mean, I looked at them, they look fine as the form.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not,
But we have to discuss as the planning and zoning committee, now that we have it drafted, we have to finalize.
All three of you have seen the drafts. They've been
Well,
sent.
yeah, ordinances, as long as they
I
don't
think-
override the federal
And
government,
that's
state
what we're
government,
doing.
water commission, all that. I'm in favor of.
But we just, the moratoriums, we want that
moratoriums.
time. We just want just a little bit of time so we can go through the proper procedures for placing those ordinances in effect before these applications come in.
We got an application in, how much time we got to act?
Well, I mean, if you have an application, they have to meet and talk about it, then it comes to us, there has to be next board meeting, next commissioners meeting.
I've talked with some planning and zoning directors who, when they receive an application and they look through it, if there's something missing or if there's questions on it, it doesn't have to be at that next meeting necessarily. We can say, no, we gotta wait like a month, we need to look into this before we can properly hear your application. If that would come to it. This is just basically doing that process for us for these specific facilities.
Like, they can put in an application, but we can say, we're gonna look at this when the ordinance gets passed.
Yeah.
So what's the point of needing a moratorium?
For some time, we already have a couple, or one,
Right, but
If we can, I guess to just kind of clarify, if we can pause an application like you're saying, do we need the moratoriums? I get what you're saying there. I guess this is just buying us time without having to tell this specific applicant, sorry, we gotta hold off. You know, this is just already saying that. But this is only for data centers and solar. It's not for battery storage facilities, which is a company that has contacted us. That's
the one that's actually making more contact than the others, isn't it?
yes, at this point, yes. But they're the same company that contacted me last fall about a data center.
So it sounds to me like the ordinances are in place. I've looked at them, like I said, as to form, I approve of them. As to substance, there's always the possibility of something being challenged in court. I don't have a crystal ball to see that, but I don't see the need for a continued moratorium, but that's not my call.
Matt is actually here, if you guys would like to talk to him about, he's a planning and zoning board member. So as Patty and I are your P&Z admins, basically, he is a board member who can maybe
I guess
give his.
When it goes for the moratorium in our discussion, it was because we didn't know how long we could pause an applicant, we wanted a protection because most of these applicants have very expensive attorneys and a lot more money to where if we were to try to push them off for a month or two in order to work on the ordinance, they may start pushing harder. We don't want to have to divert our attention from their pushing harder from working on the ordinances.
Well, if they have lawyers, that would come to my office.
Well, that's just it.
And if they want to come to my office with it, they're certainly welcome to do so.
And that's fine. We just didn't know what type of legal pause that the planning and zoning board could have once we got an application.
Well, it's certainly at the very minimum from the time that you guys discuss it to the time it gets to the commissioners. And then if the commissioners have questions or issues, then it would be another month.
Well, that's the question. I mean, not knowing if we got an application, if we could say, okay, we're not gonna hear it this month because we're still working on this ordinance, how long can we do that without?
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you've drafted the ordinances. How much more time do you need? I mean, at the next meeting?
It depends on the rest of the board members, honestly. I put a draft in there based on all the information I researched and what the other counties had drafted. So I know what's in them. I've read them. The rest of the board members need to read them. We need to have an open discussion about what the different board members' opinions are of the subject matter of the ordinances. I mean, I'm fine with approving as soon as possible. But now after being here today, I'm honestly taking consideration, we need to add penalties into these ordinances to look forward at these types of problems that these landowners are dealing with. I mean, you literally said that you would have to have a legal complaint or a ticket in order to pursue legal after these people. We don't know what type of damage could be done to that bridge.
Right, yeah, I mean.
Right, so those are things that we now need to take into consideration and add into these ordinances so that we're not having these different public disputes with these corporations during a commission meeting because we have it on paper and they agreed to follow it when they applied for their road use permit. It's a protection for everybody that lives here. You know, they like to come in and say that, oh, we're doing this and we have the history of this. Okay, well, history can change overnight. I mean, if you bring in too much equipment and tear up the road, regardless of we already built it once, hey, well, you tore it up again. So if you have to do it 3 times, you have to do it 3 times because you're the one using it to get out there to build these wind towers.
Well, it might be a good idea for you guys to present ordinances at the next county commission meeting then, right?
Yeah, like, when it sounds everybody's talking, we're ready for ordinances, that means
We need to
moratorium.
discuss, I said we need to discuss the ordinances like that said.
Yep, so do it.
Yeah.
And we will.
We did have the email sent out.
But we
recently that
can't say we're
these are
gonna
gonna be a
guarantee that it will be, because the last time we tried to do an ordinance with the CO2, we were fine and dandy up until the meeting. Everybody was on the same page after umpteen meetings, and then boom. So, So I can't tell you, yes, we're gonna be okay at the next meeting. It may take a couple of times. We have discussed having special meetings to kind of move this along. But as Patrick says all the time, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you, yes, we're gonna get this done in a month.
So my motion still stands to go with the moratorium for 3 months.
Okay, we have a motion to reinstall the moratoriums.
For 90 days,
Yes,
then it sunsets.
or they have an ordinance available.
I'll go with 90 days, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the moratoriums for 3 months.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work, Matt.
Not a problem. What I took you putting for.
Yep, I gotta do recall, I gotta do a roll call vote, recall it, roll call vote on that. Rob?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Lee? No. Okay. Okay, building permit for Beth.
We got
Okay, go ahead.
What? What did you say?
Are we, this second reading, right?
Well, technically, yes, we do have to read these a second time. So, if you would like me to speed read, I can speed read really fast. Resolution 2025-02, a resolution of the County of Oliver, North Dakota to impose a moratorium on the development of all data center and cryptocurrency mining facilities until zoning standards can be developed. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County and the state notice of the potential for Oliver County to be identified as a preferred location for the development of data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities in the future. Whereas data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities are nascent land use in Oliver County and best practices have not yet been established regarding siting application protocols and performance standards for said land use. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND finds it necessary to develop a land use code amendment to establish a framework for the evaluation, siting data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities in order to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Oliver County. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND finds it necessary to impose a moratorium on any and all data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities, and that the purpose of the moratorium is to allow the county adequate time to conduct research and develop and adopt standards to guide the development of said land uses. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND that a moratorium on the development of all data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities is adopted for the period of time necessary to develop and adopt adequate applicable land use code amendments, and that this resolution shall take effect upon reporting and publication. Okay. Resolution 2025-03, a resolution of the County of Oliver County, North Dakota to impose a moratorium on the development of all solar energy facilities until zoning standards can be developed. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND has taken notice of the potential for Oliver County to be identified as a preferred location for the development of solar facilities in the future. Whereas solar energy facilities are nascent land use in Oliver County and the best practices have not yet been established regarding siting, application protocols, and performance standards for said land use. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND finds it necessary to develop a land use code amendment to establish a framework of the evaluation and siting of solar energy facilities in order to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Oliver County. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND finds it necessary to impose a moratorium on any and all solar energy facilities, and that the purpose of the moratorium is to allow the county adequate time to conduct research and develop and adopt standards to guide the development of said land uses. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Oliver County ND that the moratorium on the development of all solar energy facilities is adopted for the period of time necessary to develop and adopt adequate applicable land use code amendments, and that this resolution shall take effect upon recording and publication. Okay.
Official.
It is official.
Okay, Patty, yes.
Yep. Courtney Smith and.
Beth Kohler extension.
Oh,
Yeah.
is she the first one?
So, yeah, I just put her on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't get the new one. Basically, she just needs to extend the expiration date to for 6 months for her previous. She was going to build a shop, and we put it as May 2nd of 24 is when we issued it. She didn't get a chance to do it, so we're just planning and zoning said they would be okay to approve an extension, so she doesn't have to redo a permit. Again, 6 months, so it would be, November 2nd of 25 would be the new expiration.
Okay, we need a motion to approve that extension.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
What's next?
The conditional use permit for Courtney and Ford.
So this one is, do you want one?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay, so this is conditional use as well as the building permit is attached to the bottom, or the back. This came to us last year, but unfortunately due to, the passing of her dad, they had to kind of put it on hold. They would like to, yeah. So the conditional use permit is to basically put 6.69 acres, which is lot B, in commercial or residential, from ag to residential. And then the building permit, so I didn't make a copy of this, but this is the lot B that I have highlighted.
Why don't we take a motion to approve the conditional use permit first?
No, I'm just saying, this is the land that will be put from ag to residential.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, conditional use approved.
So then they want to move a manufactured home onto the property. It is a, yeah.
Apparently the planning and zoning had no problem with.
We had no problem with approving both of them, so.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion second to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Okay. Randy and Sarah. Next one. Just making sure I'm with you too. Randy and Sarah. They are doing a building. So they just need a building permit. Everything's already residential. And yeah, planning and zoning did not find any reason not to. It's a garage, so.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved.
Okay, next one is Trevor Hendrickson, special meeting request.
So,
Yeah,
at the last meeting, Trevor Hendrickson had submitted a conditional use permit and a building permit to us, but it was after the deadline that we had to get it into the paper for the April meeting for the proper notification required by our zoning ordinance. So at the last meeting, he requested of the planning and zoning board to have a special meeting earlier than our May meeting to hear his permit for conditional use and building. The board agreed and is planning to have a planning and zoning meeting on Friday morning at 8 a.m. to hear his permits. He requested it of the county commissioners to also have a special meeting to approve of said permits on potentially the same day, following the meeting, of planning and zoning. So I know I called each of you to kind of fill you in on this one and requested Friday works for you, but also to make you aware that to have a special meeting for planning and zoning would cost the county roughly $460. That's for their board fee and mileage, if they all show up for the meeting. So just kind of putting that one out there. We typically don't have special meetings
At the request.
for a building permit at the request of the citizen. So I don't know that, not since I've been here have we done that, but I don't know that it's ever been done.
Never happened. I did hear, I think almost forever.
Almost, not quite.
So
My feelings on this, that if we've been asked to hold a special meeting, that whoever asked, we can't set a precedence and just say we can do it, it's gonna cost us $460. I think we need payment for whatever the meeting costs from whoever asked for a permit.
So Jamie called me last night, almost an hour conversation. She finally more or less agreed that, yeah, it should be on the taxpayer. You know, like you say, the amount, they requested it, I was at the meeting, he requested twice for a special meeting. So I guess I'll make that motion that they pay the, for the special meeting for the, whoever shows up in their mileage.
And the expenses.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
the only thing I need to know is, you guys meet at 8 AM right after planning and zoning has it, or can you not? Do we need to push it back, or?
What's the date?
Friday, this Friday, May 9th, at 8 AM is when planning and zoning is meeting.
Just meet at 9.
I mean, it won't take us that long.
Do they have marathon meetings like we do?
No, this is
Not
a-
with this,
This
because
is a
he
one
actually
permit
came in and
meeting.
kind of talked to us already. So
This
it's not.
is, yeah, no, this is a one permit meeting, this is specifically for his permits alone, there's not going to be really anything else discussed on there.
Can you make it?
It may be
Virtually.
Or by phone?
Yeah.
By phone.
by phone.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay, so roughly 8:15, we'll call it 8:15, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I better give them some time for discussion, in the event that they need to discuss something, I better give them some time.
The next thing, we already discussed the ordinances.
Somewhat,
Yeah.
you have all received copies, Patrick
Yeah,
has received them, the board has looked at them. I did send an email to the planning and zoning board asking if they would be willing to have a special meeting to go over basically a work session, so no decisions would be made, but to look at wording, if there are updates that they see that maybe there's some adjustments they want to make as a board, or if you have suggestions as a commissioner prior to putting it for an official public reading, first hearing, potentially at the end of this month, if they have no arguments with what was written, which would be beneficial for everybody, because then we're looking at a very short timeline of having to do this. So if there are suggestions from you, since you have looked at them, please let me know. And then that way they can get implemented into these drafts, and I can send them back to Patrick for his legalese, basically, to make sure that it looks okay, and then we can move forward from there. But so that's basically where we're at. I know there's 4 of them, 3 specific for different types of industry, and then the other was a complete reformat of the zoning ordinance itself. Because right now what we have is basically a mishmash of what has been added over the years. The formatting as well is lacking. So I've looked at them. I think they look good, but it's not up to me. So
Okay. Water Resource Board.
Good afternoon. Appreciate you guys meeting with me today. So my name is Mike Teets. I sit on the Oliver County Resource Board. The reason I asked to be on the agenda, received a request not too long ago regarding potential steps on adding ordinances or rules or guidelines on temporary dewatering in the county. And if the county itself wanted to implement those, I kind of wanted to try to get some more information from the board and from the county on kind of what is not being met from the state side. I think right now the Water Appropriation Division, it's kind of broken down by watersheds. It's kind of the first graph there. So Oliver County has two hydrologists that oversee our county, and kind of what they're not doing, and that we want to implement. Again, my understanding is they issue conditional use permits, temporary water use permits, and then make the designations on no permit required. So I did print off, they have a flow chart that's kind of page 2 there on what permits required and why and how that kind of flows.
What authority does the county have over the state?
Right now, none. Right now, we follow the state, is my understanding, and then work in conjunction with implementing that as we get complaints and send them up. So again, not trying to get too far in the weeds, but something that we just talked about at our Southwest Water Board meeting is they have this, the state's kind of put out an EAE program, they call it Educate, Advocate, and Engage, and it's really trying to talk about the Missouri River and its use and why it's important in North Dakota. And really the point they're trying to hit home is on water rights and using the water in the Missouri. So kind of water right utilizing first in time, first in right. They want to try to use as much of the Missouri River before it flows outside of the boundaries of North Dakota. And then, the other states would have rights to it before us, even though it flows through. So just more of a perspective there, but that's where I think sometimes the state looks at, okay, if the water's making it into the knife, it's making it into the Missouri, it's flowing outside of the state, is that something we can harness? And so just with my visitation with kind of hydrologists, if they feel like there is excess water in some of these creeks, or there is water that's making it to the knife or making it to the Missouri, if there is a temporary beneficial use, and that's kind of why I included the most recent Plattner temporary use permit, they're gonna approve it because it's a dust control and they feel like there's enough water in the system. So again, I'm not talking for the board, I'm just talking for myself. I struggle a little bit in seeing what benefit we would bring on top of the hydrologists doing their review of the watershed, putting in that they implemented stream gauges in Square Butte, kind of trying to preempt this temporary use and kind of going making steps in that direction.
As far as water usage and with the permit, we didn't, I guess I don't know if we approved it, they just mandated it. They have full authority over the water resources in the county. That's what it says right here.
Yep, absolutely. And kind of the discussion point I think Ms. Berger kind of brought up was there are counties, especially in the oil field region, that do have restrictions.
Some leeway?
Well, they have to get the state temporary, and then they have to go to the county to get theirs. My interpretation is it's kind of revenue driven. It's trying to bring revenue into the county, but I don't know that for certain. But there are counties, Mackenzie and Montreal, that do have criteria at the county level that after you get the state permit, that you have to get county authority as well. So again, just trying to put together an understanding before we meet as a water board to see what the county's looking for, or what guidelines or rules or ordinances we should be trying to draft. Does that make sense or cover it?
Yeah, that's something when they do the ordinances, that's something that they need to be looking at. I can see there's some stuff written in there that probably says that we have some control. But I think we'd be overriding the state, and we don't want to do that.
Well, I think the calls I got were just concerned about that creek again, that they sucked out of last year, that if we don't get rain and the springs quit running, and that's what I talked to Lauren and Mike about was, and so they did, supposedly there is a gauge on this one, which shows the flow, there's a continuous flow. Once that flow stops, which happened last year, then he made it quit pumping.
And that is in their permit this time too, is if it's a Texas crossing, if it doesn't go past the Texas crossing, that's cease flow and they're shut down. But I think there was some concern that maybe they didn't shut it down soon enough or timing, and you get the downstream water users get impacted.
So that's why I contacted them, just wondering if they want something, but if you think the state's good enough, then, but, like them guys, if that creek goes dry, a lot of them rely on it. And we kind of the same thing. We've got the creek coming out of Horsbrooks, 1 through 4 farms, or 3 farms. And if somebody would suck a bunch of water out, there's no water for the cattle.
And after they shut that down, then they did get a temporary permit for Square View right in town. I mean,
they pumped most of that water out last year. I know that personally.
For that road out there?
No, for that out west.
Oh, yeah, they sucked out of
They
here
never
too.
even passed. They came and took it.
yeah, there's permit requirements in there too, that you are required to have land.
They never asked for no permit, they never even asked for permission.
So maybe the county should have something, or the water board should write something like that, I don't know.
Who did this?
D.H. Blattner.
Where'd they pull it from? On your land?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't call the cops or trespassing?
They asked the gravel supplier if they could get a few loads. 2 hours later, they had a pumping station out there which ran all summer.
Yeah, and I guess that's if the state would have known about that, they'd have shut him down. If the sheriffs would have known about it, they'd have shut him down. You know what I mean? We can't respond to these things if we don't know what's going on. Every pump that's there pulling water out of the creek is supposed to have a permit number on it.
There was 2 pumps there all summer.
And if they don't, then you look, and if they don't have a permit number on them, you call the state or you call us or the water board, and then they call down there and go, hey, these guys ain't doing it right, and then we go from there. But yeah,
So if the county had some kind of guidelines, the state would say, now you gotta contact all of the county's water board, and then Rob would have it.
right, but if they didn't contact the state, they sure shit ain't gonna contact us. I mean, if they're already circumventing the state regulations, how are we, you know what I mean? Like, that's, yeah, we can do it, whatever. It's just a lot of, we don't have the resources, is the biggest thing. We don't have hydrologists. We don't have the, gauges and all the shit the state has to know how it goes.
Could you go back and get more schooling?
I mean, enforcement stuff, absolutely. That's what we got these guys for, but
That's pretty limited too. I mean, we're a 4-man sheriff's department, so.
Yeah, when everybody's working.
Okay, anything else for us? Okay, we appreciate you coming in.
Yep,
and
thanks
sharing
for your
your
time.
time for this. Okay. Sharon, you've been waiting for us for a while.
You guys are working. Center Community Club annual meeting site authorization for Spurview Golf Course and the fairgrounds. Asking if the board would approve those again for the community club.
I don't know where you are.
So the fairgrounds,
Calcutta.
Okay, past years, before we approve anything, we have our state's attorney take a glance at it to see if he spots anything, and most years we've discovered some little thing in there.
This one should be easy, it's a state form, so.
Okay.
It's one here.
Well, it was hotter earlier.
think we need to invest in a fan that we can put in the corner and kind of just get some circulation on.
While he's reading, I got a question. Would it be better that we have a community meeting to talk about all this wind stuff instead of taking up a bunch of time at every commissioner's meeting?
Yes.
If you guys wouldn't have a problem with it, I'll set one up.
You remember, I don't know.
Yeah, we wait for the legislators anyway, till they get done. They're done, what are you talking about? They're done. Maybe, they're doing cleanup when I talk to Keith.
They kind of died at 4. I tried to stay up till midnight, but I didn't make it.
I watched the replays on there.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there 2 permits or is it 1?
Well, there's 2 because for each site.
All approved. Gate golf course and then Calpine.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you. You make copies of those, don't you, and I get them back from you, or? Are you good with me taking them now?
You can take them now. If I need to sign it, I'll sign it quick.
No, I need his signature.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I signed here.
Maybe see if Linda should still be here. She can
The
maybe.
Attorney General.
Yeah, they'll sign on that line, and they'll sign on that. Yeah, you can be the attorney general.
No, Sharon, if you just want to have Linda make a copy so we can stick one in our file.
Yeah, you should have a copy just because if somebody questions it.
And I always have a copy too.
Yeah. You don't need my signature on it, all right? Okay.
No, that's it. Thanks so much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Portfolio reports.
I just put that on there as if you guys have anything you need to bring up.
Okay, we need Jim. Dave, we're ready for the sheriff report.
I didn't even see Dave's slide in.
Okay, what do you gentlemen have for us?
Well, we have, we're looking at, some extra help for the summer and looking at, hiring a 4th deputy. And, I've kind of talked to some of the guys about it here. We're gonna be having a lot of stuff coming up here in the next year or 2 that, we'd kind of like to stay ahead of. The hiring process gets to be a long, drawn-out process where it's been taking a lot of other departments that I've talked to, anywhere from 6 months to a year to get somebody hired. And we just like to be a step ahead of it to try to get the hiring process going. If we could get somebody hired and maybe start them by the 1st of the year. And then also, like I said,
You are paying some overtime right now because?
Yes, we are paying overtime.
Because of James?
Yes.
He's out for how long?
Well, we don't know for sure, but it's gonna be most of the summer. So, he is unable to walk right now, period. He has a broken ankle in 3 places and a shattered heel on the other foot. So he's not able to walk, period. So, but yeah, he's gonna be laid up for, I'm gonna say, most of the summer. So, Shannon has been filling in on a few shifts for us. Other than that, between me and Jim and Kale, we've been handling the rest of it.
Has Kale been off some too?
Kale has been off some too.
Maternity leave.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're looking at getting somebody, if we can get somebody in for part-time for the summer, and, we'd like to possibly keep that person on as a 5th officer for the county.
What do you guys think?
Well, I guess I have my conversations, your portfolio,
I
but
talked to these guys too, and they they got concerns over staffing in the future. I mean,
Yeah.
they wanna get in front of it.
Sounds.
Well, like we discussed, if we were a 5-man right now,
It wouldn't be so short.
we wouldn't be so short, you know.
Yeah.
On a 5-man, Dave would be looking at, he'd be working in more of an administrative role, day to day, taking care of, you know, daily sheriff's department business, while the deputies would be working the shifts. And then when you have one guy go out, he can just roll right into the rotation. And like right now, I'm working 9 in a row, and then popping a couple off, and coming back for another 9. It's almost becomes a quality of life issue.
I agree.
Sounds like a realistic request.
Yeah,
But like I said, the time it takes to get somebody hired, I mean, if we could get somebody within 6 months, I think we'd be doing good.
Yeah, that's, when the budget, the new budget comes into it.
Well, that's kind of why we're looking at it now, so that it can be budgeted. And then when if you okay it by the first of the year, we would actually have somebody in place. If we wait till the first of the year, now we're 6 months behind again.
So you're looking to stay at 4-man, or are you looking to increase to 5?
4 deputies. It'd be a 5-man department.
Right, that's what I'm asking, because then that would change kind of a lot of the other rules as far as like how we're budgeting for overtime versus cover shift pay and all the other things like that, so. Because once we're at 4-man,
Yeah, we fall under a different
it's
labor
a
law.
different type of rule where we don't pay overtime, it's called cover shift pay. But once you move to 5-man or more, it becomes an overtime thing, so.
We may have quite a sound project with the city on this proposition.
Well, I guess if we don't take care of the people in the county, if something goes wrong, then it's our own fault. I mean, it'd be a little more expensive to the taxpayer, but safety is a priority.
Well, we're also looking at the cap of 3% on levies, so there will most likely not be a very large increase to taxpayers at this point as far as what they're actually getting taxed, but we do have to look at that also. We're not taking in necessarily less money. We get to levy what we did this year. It's just increasing it. We're capped at a 3% dollar amount as a whole. So we do have to kind of watch that also. We're not in the hurt bag right now though, so I think we'll be okay for a little while.
We don't wanna burn our current crew.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion then to allow sheriff's department to bring on another person and make it work.
I'll second that. Well,
Got the wording, I'm not sure about the wording on this, but.
to pursue an additional officer.
Yes, okay, I like that better.
Yeah, okay. Probably just get with Alice so she can get all the different sites for advertising and the boarding and everything, and then probably look at what you're looking for pay scale wise also between this rate and this rate, I'm gonna guess, so.
Well, that's gonna kind of depend on what kind of experience, that we can get. If we get somebody right out of the academy, or if we get somebody with a lot of experience.
It's a difference.
Okay, any more discussion on this? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Go ahead and proceed with.
Do you wanna talk about this?
Yeah, you asked me to look at that FirstNet quote and whatever. Ultimately, what we're looking at is the phone plan would stay the same price as what we're paying with Verizon. What they did offer me is there's a promotion right now where we can get in where there's a cell phone booster and a router for the vehicle, so we would have full-time internet to access our state programs. Plus the cell phone booster, maybe I could get a phone call in Hanover, I don't know. And that would be a minimal cost, I think it's like $5 to get 5 units. So, I'm not seeing a downside to it. I guess it's up to you, we would have to switch from Verizon to FirstNet, but.
I think it's.
You tried one of those out there.
I tried the phone, just the phone itself, it was no better or no worse than Verizon. But I'm hoping with the booster system that's involved, plus the router for the internet, it would be a win-win for us.
And now you said Mercer County.
Mercer County and Beulah PD have been running them, and I had one of the deputies run down to Hanover, and he said he had pretty good reception in Hanover too. So they're using the system, and it seems to be working.
Sound good to you, Dave?
I don't have an issue with it. Go ahead.
Okay, I will let them know. I gave you that proposal I was discussing about vehicles. Any discussion on
Let's
that?
wait, I forgot my copy at home.
Okay.
They've got plans on how to pursue an additional patrol car.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next month if that's
Right,
okay.
yeah, because right now we really should be looking at two.
One's kind of getting tired and we need to.
Well, yeah, because we fixed that motor and then 2 days later it's back in the shop. So I'm not sure where that's at right now. I just know we're gonna be on foot patrol soon.
I don't even have a horse for one.
I got horses. I'll take you up on it.
You use my silence.
Good badge. Okay, anything else, guys?
No, I think that's it.
Can't think of nothing right now.
So we definitely need a car by January 1,
Oh, yeah,
at least one.
at least.
But like I said, we'll discuss the other one next month then, and
I will bring that with me.
Yep.
We'll put that on the agenda. I think we're here, not idea.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting days, it says, next on the list.
That was kind of your
Yeah,
deal
what we
here.
talked about was, we're having to change so many Thursdays, now Tuesday. Should we just go to Tuesdays instead of Thursdays? Because they have, a lot of the court dates are on Thursdays. It works for me.
I have no problem with whatever day, they're all the same.
Well, I mean, no, I look at what we've set for dates, and I've arranged my calendar about that. If we change it now, it's going to be problematic. I mean, I have court all the time. I got all kinds of stuff going on, and so when I look at my calendar, I'm really looking out. So I would appreciate it if
January 1?
I would appreciate it if we could look next year, and if I know. Thank you.
Okay, suggestion is we wait till this following
January 1st.
January.
Yeah, I'm good with that. That way we have to plan coming forward.
Because we've adjusted from this meeting to the end of the year due to court conflicts because of the, the quarterly and the whatnot, so.
Okay, we set our schedule in December.
And when, and it's not just court here, so it's court that I have elsewhere. And so when we change things, then I have to file things with the court to ask them to change their schedule, and then it becomes this push-pull, and it's difficult.
Yep.
Community Foundation grant.
So I'm happy to announce that the county received $6,000 from the Community Foundation to go towards the payment of our comprehensive plan. We received the check the other day. They let me know, and we did there was a picture with the entire group in the paper last week of, the total dollar amount was like $31,000, I believe, but we received $6,000, so.
Good report.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good one.
Yep.
Moving on down the list, Rath and Mayer, our audit company, will be here on June 2nd and 3rd. I know, I was looking here and the screen wasn't down, so yeah. So that's kind of the only update I have. They sent in a stack of stuff. You signed the letter so we can send them back and get the process rolling. They really communicate a lot with our office prior to coming up here, and then when they're up here, they live in the vault for 2 days. Basically looking through everything, checking things out. So if you come up on June 2nd and 3rd and I look a little harried, don't be surprised. But
Okay. Weed barn.
I think we all have a letter here. we all have a letter in our portfolio. An email, or I believe an email was sent to Patrick
Yeah,
with some concerns.
it was forwarded to you guys. You might want to take a look at it and read it.
Nothing we need to act on right now?
Well, it needs to be a discussion.
We have an extra copy here.
Yeah, you wanna find it, Charlie?
It's probably the last one.
No, that's good.
Just
I have an extra one, you want it?
should be agreed.
I sent her to you, Dad.
Any recommendations? I've heard one recommendation that we should restructure weed board.
The commissioners have that option. So let me preface this. So the statute that talks about noxious weed control authorizes the commission, in fact requires the commission to appoint a board, a weed board. That weed board can be 3, 5, or 7 members. It does not, that statute does not contain language that discusses whether the commissioners can restructure the size of the weed board. I believe that you can. Since I started, I have gotten many emails about the weed board. I've gotten, we've had concerns about things that have happened. We've had complaints about the way employees were treated. I mean, this is just another situation in which someone brought to my attention concerns that we have about our current weed board. To be honest with you, this email that I received causes me great concern about liability that can attach to the county. This follows a discussion that we had, it was either the last weed board meeting or the last commission meeting or before, about the weed board purchasing something so that it can rent it out to community members or allow them to use it. That can't happen. So again, when these things come to my attention, I'm not a decision maker. I need to make you guys aware of it. If you're looking for options that you have, I believe you have the option to reform the weed board with respect to its size, and reappoint people. You can also seek to remove people from the weed board under very specific circumstances, if they miss meetings, if they need to be removed for incapacity, but that's really about it. Or if they're refusing to do their duty as weed board members. But I do not believe you're prohibited from reforming the weed board with respect to size, and if you reduce the size, that would require you to reappoint people. So, other than that, I don't know that you have any options. We've had discussions. We've been a part of all those discussions. And by discussions, I mean county commission meetings. You have heard what the issues are. You have heard people bring concerns. I've laid out things that have occurred which create liability for the county. It's one of the main reasons, one of several reasons why I requested that the county hire an HR person. And now again, we now have 3 separate issues that have been brought to our attention that are concerning. I've given you what your options are and what you can do about it, and it's your decision whether to do anything or nothing.
I've talked to 2 of the weed board members, and they have no problem with restructuring. I've only talked to 2.
Well, it's not their decision, it's yours. And I understand what you're saying.
If maybe you guys have talked to weed board. Dave's been at meetings. Rob, have you got many minutes meetings?
I guess as far as being on the board, there's been a lot of talk about why a commissioner's on there, because you get 2 votes. Which doesn't matter. But as far as any other thing, I'm not gonna say because I am on the weed board, so I guess they have a meeting Thursday at 2:00, right? Correct?
Yes, I believe it's 2:00 over at the Golden Age, because there was supposed to be court possible jury trial.
And went away.
Okay, so they could potentially move it back to meeting room. But yeah, it's 2:00 on Thursday is what I was informed of.
So I'd be unable to make it, so as the portfolio holder, maybe you could attend and listen to what they have to say, I don't know. I guess I can't make the date at all right now.
Again, I guess just so I can make sure that you understand where I'm coming from I can think of, including these 3 issues, I can think of 4 or 5 others that have come up over the last year. It's a continuing problem. Unless the commissioners do something, it will be a continuing problem. Now, what to be done, that's your decision.
Well, I'd definitely be in favor of restructuring the board. But the methods of restructuring, I guess, what can we do besides start over?
You can essentially, what you can do is you can either do nothing, or you can choose to resize the board to 5 members or 3 members. That's about it. Those are your 2 options.
And then decide what district you're at large, right? Is that?
Well, I'm not, I mean, if you restructure, then you could make it, it's just like the voting for general elections. You can have, or for commissioners, you can have it by district or open across the county. I will say that because there is nothing within the statute that allows you to do it, there's also nothing in the statute which doesn't allow you to restructure the weed board. And so I can't say that somebody may not choose to try to challenge any decision that you make. But I again, we go by the plain language reading of the statute, and typically if something isn't forbidden, it's not forbidden. But I can't say no one will challenge it, but I can say that the continuing issues that come up from the weed board as it presently exists is creating a lot of problems within the county. From my perspective, as someone who's responsible for limiting liability.
I have a list of many things that have happened in the last couple of years that would justify restructuring.
So do you think you wanna go to their meeting Thursday and talk to them or listen to them, or, I don't know?
I'll have to decide on that one. I won't commit. Okay. Any thoughts, Rob?
I can't be there Thursday.
Well, no, you keep, only one of us can be there unless.
Right, I guess it's a meeting. Right?
Yeah.
You guys are more familiar with what's going on than I am.
Can I say anything that, can we open the public comment? Just as a producer, we love the cost share program, right? Like, that's a good thing. But also, there's just been some weird ideas that have come out of there lately, right? So, why do we need to store chemical on the fairgrounds where people are gonna be next to it? That's the number one no-no, right? So then we gotta move those. Now we have a side-by-side that has no demand. You get, it's just from the public, they're doing one thing well, and that, there's no complaints on that, right? Cost share program for the chemical, we've all benefited by that. But then, what's all the other stuff? No. And now we have, same as planning and zoning, we have a weed board that has to interact with NextEra, and do they have the teeth to do it? No. We maybe need to have a weed board that is more, has more foresight, so that we can set some of these parameters up. Because we're gonna have a weed wreck out there if NextEra doesn't cover their bases. And that's part of what the code says the weed board is responsible for. That's all I'm saying. I think they've done some things well, but recently it just seems a little crazy.
Do you wanna share what you and JD, while you're bored, with the soil conservation and how you guys had a plan?
Yeah, so it was in conjunction on the Soil Conservation Board that if we were to pick up another employee, that potentially custom application of chemical could be an option that would help pay for this employee's wages, right? Because there's a need, landlords call us, and we are already set up to do those things, both liability-wise and almost equipment-wise, with one additional piece, right? So this was a conversation that our board had had, and then we tabled it because we weren't quite in the place to add another employee. And then coincidentally, I don't know, 3 to 6 months later, all of a sudden we hear that the weed board's gonna buy a side-by-side and rent it out to landowners. And at the meeting, which Mr. Schmidt sits on, it was asked to him that this sounds like an idea that came from our board to help us with our budgeting, right? To afford another employee to serve the county better. And of course that was ignored. And so it's not that I'm looking at this as we want this revenue for our board, because we haven't even made that decision to go this route, right? But as a former commercial applicator who did right-of-way work and sprayed all the basin substations in the tri-state area for 7 years, like, there are liabilities that go with this. And that's the red flag that happened in my mind, especially when it comes to double applying chemical, which the county already has a person for. So I had stated that at the last meeting. Again, some of these thoughts were there, and yeah, it's just It just feels to me as an independent producer that possibly the weed board is getting outside of its lane.
I think objectively, the weed board has gotten outside of its lane.
Pardon me?
I think objectively, the weed board has gotten outside of its lane. That's my opinion based on information that's been given to me and the suggestions that have come out of that board. That, when combined with other issues that this county's had over the last year, I think I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure right now our process of restructuring, what all involved, like what
What it would
we've had, everybody resigns and
So what it would be
we
is,
replace everybody on the board and that's it?
yeah, what it would be is if you issue a vote to, reform the number of weed board members, then you would need to appoint 3 new members, and then those members would need to meet and discuss on having the weed board itself oversees the weed control officer and the employment of the weed control officer. That's their decision. County commissioners have no decision over that. The only thing the county commission can do is to create a budget that needs to be apportioned for the noxious weed program. Part of that is the cost share. The other part is that, beyond that, that's all the weed board is there for, is to administer the noxious weed control program. That's it. It's not to, frankly, I'll just say it, it's not to tell the board what to do with its money. It's not to accuse people of theft. It's not to do any of the number of things that have occurred over the last year. It's to administer the noxious weed control program. So, again, you don't have to do anything, but if you do decide to adjust the size of the weed board, you need to vote on it. If that was approved, then it would be the commissioner's responsibility to appoint a new board, and then the new board will be responsible for employing a weed control officer, and that's it. And I'm not saying that there won't be challenges to whatever decision you make, but I see nothing that prohibits you from engaging in this decision should you so choose.
Okay, are we ready to?
Well, so the last meeting, 2 people have already said they're gonna get off in the near future. One's moving to Bismarck, the other one's just been on there for 20-some years. So maybe that's the thing to sit down and ask them, do you wanna come with an opinion on how to restructure? Let them maybe decide. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know the internal workings.
No, I don't either. He passed the buck on me. But I'd like to see them at least, and which I suggested the last meeting, but they had input. But I think they definitely
Okay,
need to.
I think from listening to everything here, I need to attend. When's the meeting? Thursday?
2:00. And Jade can see if they can move it back over here. Because it is a public meeting, should be live streamed.
Isn't there court on Thursday?
Patrick just said that.
Oh, sorry.
There's no more.
Okay, sorry.
There isn't anymore. That's why they had to move it originally, because we were over for it.
3 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock?
It's at 2 o'clock on Thursday.
Okay, I will be in the meeting, so then I guess I'll get their thoughts, and then we'll have to make a decision. I don't know of any other way to go right now than to do that.
Yeah, I think let them restructure themselves.
Because I never heard that before, that there were already 2 of them that,
Yep, Daryl Schulte's moving to Bismarck probably by fall. And Byron Felt has said, and Gene Gross has even mentioned it a couple months ago that he was.
It might be more than 2 good enough.
Right. And I guess if it was restructured and we decided to agree, I'd have no problem getting off on this meeting, so.
And last meeting, I volunteered to be on it, so.
I have applications. I know I talked to Lee about this one day. even if we don't have openings on the board, if somebody comes to me or to you and says, I'm interested in being on planning, zoning, weed board, whatever, would you be okay if I started a file of applications, basically that I'm interested, and I'll put them in order of when they were interested, and when we have an opening, I can call them and say, are you still interested? Can I give your application to the commissioners? Are you good with that?
Speeds up the process.
And one of the suggestions is eliminate the districts. Because they don't go on your property anyway, only the weed board officer can, so really, kinda like us, but.
I'm not so sure on that one.
Okay.
I guess I prefer maybe the members should be from
Different areas?
not that they shall be. 'Cause I don't know what to talk about that.
If I could interject,
Sure.
I mentioned this last time you weren't here, but, we farm quite a bit over in Daryl's district, right? But because I'm in Gene's district, I don't wanna push Gene out, right? He's a friend and a neighbor, but at the same time, here's a vacant spot and I could fill it, right? And we have a fair amount of acres over here, we're impacted, we're invested in this area. That's the limiting part of districts, is because as farmers, we're getting farther and farther apart, and we farm bigger and bigger, so we cross over districts, so.
Okay, I'm listening.
I like that part of it, because we are spread out, right? Just because we don't have a physical address, that limits me, So, it's the only concern.
Appreciate the input on that. Okay, maybe no more Thursday. Okay. Any concrete updates?
So if you hadn't noticed, they did finish the concrete work. They're coming back on Thursday to fill in where they, dug out around the concrete, to fill it in, replace the broken sprinkler heads that they must have broken, and then kind of clean up, whatever they've got going here. So, yeah. And they'll reseed the grass area where they did disturb it also.
Sprinkler system.
I got an email from Mickey asking if anybody, if the sprinkler system has been fixed. I believe she spoke to Gus Rude, who said they have a company that comes out, I think it was Cashman's, I don't know for sure, that does his sprinkler system. If we have not gotten it fixed, and this would be more of like Keith would know more about this than I would, we have a sprinkler system. But in the 2 years that I've been auditor, and even before when I was in the extension office, I think I maybe saw the sprinkler system running once. And then I think something happened with it.
Because it rained all the time.
Yeah, because it rained, yep. So that was brought up to me. I'm bringing it up to you as do you want me to get quotes from companies to see what it would take to fix it or replace it? Or do you know anybody know more about it than I do?
Yes.
So.
I'll get you the name of the person that did ours.
Okay.
Do you have somebody else too?
My grandson does that. He has a business.
Well, okay.
And I'll see him this coming weekend, I think.
Because I think you were dealing with that 5 years ago, really, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, because we were involved in
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check that. Okay.
Cause I get,
Soundscaper discussion.
yeah,
Let's.
cause I was talking to Miranda and she said the same thing, being, it's gonna get dry and they come and spray it and stuff. You gotta water it, and if you don't rain, it's kind of doesn't really do any good to do the spraying, so. With the fertilizer and the chemical to kill them dandelions. So, but last few years we've been kinda lucky, it's been raining, so, we'll see.
So you're gonna pick the dandelions by hand?
Well, I don't have to pick a few. They get most of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, Keith?
What else do I got?
The quote from Ryan,
that's
I
right.
think it's sitting on my desk.
Yeah, quote from Ryan.
For electrical work.
Yeah, for electrical work to run power for that shed. I think that was like $1,600. And he's gonna run new wire, and he's gonna put instead of a 60 amp, he's gonna put a 100 amp box in the shed, just in case a guy wanted to add something, you know, you need more stuff in there. So I think he's gonna do that. Well, then he'll have to put he's got to look over. He'll have to put a 100 amp breaker in the box too. You know, it'll be 100 amp. So, and I told him, he asked me, I said, well, yeah, I think it's a good idea because if you need to put anything else in there, add anything with cords or something, you got 100 amp. And so, yeah, so I don't know when he's going to get to it. He's in outage right now working. So I don't know when that's going to be done, but he said it'll probably be a while yet. I says, well, it isn't really a rush deal. I just like to have it before winter, or at least by this fall anyway. Okay, and what else is there? Well, I got the tractor. I got that. I went and got that yesterday. I have tractor and snowboard. And there's it's a wagon, you know, to pull behind, you know, to pick up leaves and all that stuff. But there isn't going to be room in the shed, so I was just seeing if we could maybe park that in top for it out of the county, just in their shed out there. It can just be in cold storage, so it's not sitting outside. Because I won't need that probably till fall when I pick up leaves. I should need it. I don't know what it summer.
There's a spot out there.
Yeah, they cleaned out that cold storage shower.
Okay. And then the next thing is that sweeper, that walk behind sweeper. Because if we can't, I'd like to find a sweeper to mount to that tractor, so we wouldn't need that anymore. So I don't know what you want to do with it, but I mean, for now it can stay there, but it's going to be, if we get that other sweeper, it's going to have to probably go out of there, otherwise there's going to be no room for everything. So it fit in there good. It fit in there good. I had I mounted the snowblower with the bracket. It fit right in there. I even got room. I could put the 3-point hitch on it. Plenty of room for that. But the lawnmower, I think it'll fit, but it's going to be close to the deck, fitting through the door. I might have to figure out something with that. But yeah, anyway, that's the only thing is that walk behind the sweeper. I don't know what you want to try to.
You'll get a bid on the automatic sweeper.
Yeah, yeah, I will. I've been looking for a sweeper. I got that bid from RDO, but I kind of like to find a decent used one. The guy that I bought this tractor from, he has one, but he wants to sell it, but his wife doesn't want to let him sell it. So that's just really nice. So I didn't know. So, and then the guy at RDO told me that sometimes when you buy them, even if it's John Deere, they won't mount to the bracket. Because one guy bought one and he had to spend another $500-600 for mounting stuff to mount it to the bracket. So, but I do have the right bracket because it has the 2 cylinders on it. And yeah, the guy done a lot. He gave me a lot of extra stuff. He put new hoses on that, hydraulic hoses. And so yeah, if you guys want to go and look at it, in the shed, so it's right. So,
okay, thank you.
So I think that's all I got. So if you want to think about that sweeper, because I mean, well, for now I said okay, but if we get another one for a tractor.
Okay, County PRC trust approval.
So each of you have a copy of this letter from the state tax commissioner. So the legislature passed something earlier in the session to include trusts under the primary residency credit recipients. And we received a list, which is attached to the back of this letter, of 4, I don't know that you got this on.
Okay.
But of 4 potential recipients, we had to double check. 2 of them had already received the PRC. One of them is farm exempt, so does not qualify to receive the PRC, and so the only one there is for $500. What they are requesting is that you approve us to basically refund or abate this person because they've already paid their taxes for this year. The $500 credit. Because they did qualify per the state rulings.
Almost after, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it is basically required by law, but they need you guys to agree with it. That, yeah, it's okay for us to basically cut them a check. Because normally, they would have applied this to their taxes already and then they would pay the remaining balance if there was one. But because this came in after the 2024 process, because they didn't include trusts in that process, that's.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you. And then there's an email here about Lawrence Welk. We received this request that we basically write a letter of support, which there's a draft of it on the second page, to raise awareness and celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Lawrence Welk Show and Lawrence Welk because he was a resident of North Dakota. There are other counties that have already approved a letter, a proclamation, a resolution that's listed on the first page here. I'm just giving it to you to approve, and then I can get this draft on formal letterhead and sent it back to this Scott Wheeler if you want to.
I need a motion that we.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Lawrence, good guy. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
I guess discussion would have been as well. Did you ever listen to it as a kid?
No, but I know who it is.
I think you guys are probably both out there, so I don't know what life comes from nowhere. Okay, anything else? Meeting adjourned. I have some stuff I haven't signed yet.
Yeah, that's why I came back in.